Hey, yo, and welcome to the 461st episode of the GeekVerse podcast. I am the bad guy, Trask. Now, rest in peace to the great Scott Hall. And I'm joined by
the good guy, Kirklin. I didn't know that was in reference to Scott Hall, but I knew he passed away, so definitely rest in peace to him.
Yes. One of those guys legitimately, he was never world champion, but if you were to make a list, probably the biggest guy's never world champion, but he was like at the forefront of like multiple like industry changing things. He was a part of like one of the biggest ladder matches of all time. He's the guy that started like guaranteed contracts because he jumped over to a different brand like way back in the 90s. He's part of that. You've heard the NWO.
The NWO. Oh yeah, New World Order.
Yeah,
I thought he was like X Factor too, or is that something else?
No, that's Degeneration X. But he was
Degeneration X.
So what there was, in a quick little breakdown, there was this group in wrestling called the Click, but they weren't known to the public. It was just an inside group of Scott Hall,
like
Kevin Nash,
QUE, right? Like Click, like a friend group.
Yeah, but this one was KLIQUE. It was like they spelt it differently to be cool. It was the 90s.
Okay.
But it was Shawn Michaels, Triple H, Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, and X-Pac, and they were in this thing called the Click. They were pretty much just known as, like either you got along with them backstage or you didn't. But what happened was Kevin Nash and Scott Hall were going to WCW. So the first time ever, what happened was it was at a house show. Kevin Nash and Shawn Michaels, they had a match, good guy, bad guy, blah, 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 and then they're leaving. So all of them went into the ring and hugged, and that's like back in the 90s, a wrestling no-no. This was like when, you didn't say it was fake or anything like that. So you had good guys and bad guys hugging people that never interact on the show. It was this huge deal. It was called the Curtain Call, and it was just a huge deal. There was one fan that got footage of it. People that were around still got punished after, and he changed a lot of things, but he left that's what started the NWO, which is partially inspiration for the Wolf Order and stuff like that. So it's it was sad time, sucks, but it's life, and he has one of those careers that he's gonna be talked about for decades. So shout out to Razor Ramon. And now, speaking of things that are gonna be talked about decades from now, of course, that's us, Kirklin Patzer and Travis now.
I was wondering where you're going to transition here.
Oh, of course, we're going to be industry changing.
On us. Yeah.
Oh, of course, yeah. Industry changing. So, we got one newscast this week. Next week we should be back to regular having two, and then we were just talking about this the other day. Like March is going to be busy, but then April, May is like the calm before the storm because we just have so much popping off. We got Halo, we got The Boys, we got Morbius, we got Moon Knight, we got Obi-Wan, we got Miss Marvel now that we're going to talk about. So we got so much stuff going on. I'm trying to think of anything immediate to pimp out and whatnot. The Harry Potter retros are dropping rapidly. I can confirm that Taylor has agreed to go see Fantastic Beasts 3, so I will go see it, and there will be a review.
Both of you.
Yeah, there will be a review to the podcast. I was gonna say we've said before that I love doing this. We're a small business. We have a schedule. We have a calendar. We get paid a certain way. We have a bank account. We'll have an account one day. All this stuff, and luckily, probably this is my favorite job I've ever had. But Fantastic Beasts or seeing any Fantastic Beasts is the most like work this podcast has ever felt like. But I'm doing it for you, the fans. So yeah, check out the Harry Potter retro. I think there's 2 left. Yeah, I think it's on the Deathly Hallows Part 1 and 2 in the coming weeks, and I think we'll probably release the Fantastic Beasts ones to catch up because I might have to re-listen to that because I'd rather re-listen to that than rewatch the movies to catch myself up. But
absolutely,
yeah.
I haven't even seen the second movie, but I'll probably just listen to your guys because.
I mean, no, you won't.
Taylor's
you don't care
there,
that
right?
much. Yeah, he'll be on there. Yeah, you'll listen.
I want to hear you guys
statements.
just roast some of it, and because I haven't seen
Hopefully
it. Hopefully,
it's good. That's what I'm hoping for.
I'm
Hopefully
talking about
it's
the
a
second
surprise.
one now. Hopefully you guys have actually seen. I feel like from what I've heard, it's pretty lukewarm. Like it's not like it's the worst thing ever, but it's just it's nothing to really, I don't know, get people excited about a
Yeah.
third movie.
I'd say they're both kind of like that. The first one for me is more lukewarm, but the second one's just kind of bad. And this one,
Oh, okay.
I don't know. At least I
Got
got Mads.
Mads.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got Mads Mikkelsen, but also that'll just hurt me, whatnot. And so it says multiverse of content. Yes, lots of stuff popping off. And a big thank you to everyone that keeps listening. As I said before, Batman's our second biggest review. People are still listening to that, so a big shout out to all you. And yeah, side quest. I was just on that with Dylan Musk this week. We talked about Horizon, the video game draft. You're sitting pretty comfortable right now. You know, it's a shame that I've had a game delay. Dylan's had a game delay. My Final Fantasy game that I picked, always a rockin' 80s. It's like 73. So you're sitting with like a nice like 250 plus lead right now. But
Yeah, no, I'm very happy with that. I went with the strategy of picking like safe picks, nothing really at the end of the year or anything that wasn't
Yes.
like pretty guaranteed to come out. And yeah, so
paying
I
off.
hope it pays off. Yeah, in the end. I mean, I don't want to get too cocky right now because I feel like as soon as I start riding that horse, it's gonna be just like, oh, this is delayed or this is an absolute bomb. So hopefully I'll just stay quiet.
Me and Dylan said next year we'll be stealing your strategy probably for the movies that come right away. I'll be doing the same thing for movies as well because I lost Flash, I lost Mission Impossible, I lost I think there was another one I lost. I think I lost you at Aquaman. I think there's a third one I lost too. I can't remember. I'm probably gonna lose. Oh, I think it's just I think I'm gonna lose Black Panther because it's.
Taylor's gonna lose Avatar.
Is he? They say it's happening.
I haven't heard
You know?
anything about that. Come on. They say it's happening. They said I was going to be seeing Morbius by now.
Yeah, so well, you will in a couple weeks. Yeah, Zoe Kravitz was in Fantastic Beasts too, in a very forgettable role, kind of like everybody in those movies and whatnot. But luckily, she's in the Batman now, and she's a great Selena Kyle. And I'm still waiting on the Batman 2 announcement. Any day now, guys. Any day now. I know it's happening, but just
Like the
you
Dune
know,
thing.
Yeah. I
Couple
know it's
days.
happening. It's gonna be the second biggest movie of the pandemic and stuff. But still, I'm waiting. But yeah, so side quest, I was on that. Next week will be Taylor, and then next week as well, we got the MCU draft. I said,
Hell yeah.
I think we've announced this. If not, here it is. But we got lots of drafts this year. I think we have. Well, obviously, we got the superhero draft later on in the year, and then we have one more for Doctor Strange, which we won't reveal yet. But that one's going to be really fun. So next week, look out for that. And then for patrons, if you're listening right now on any tier, make sure you go vote because every category for the MCU and the regular Golden Geeks is up. We'll be announcing the winners all those next week. So make sure if you want to vote, if you want your say, let us know because your vote counts towards the complete winner. There's a couple that didn't surprise me at all. There were a couple that really kind of threw me for a loop, and there's some that are very close. So I don't want to say what because I don't want to swing anyone's vote, but there's a couple where I don't know which way it's going to go. Plus, I still got to get yours and Dylan's and Taylor's votes and everything like that. So lots of things happening. So where can they find all that stuff, Kirklin? Your
They can
replacement, Taylor.
Yeah, they can find us at GeekVerse Podcast. Or, fuck, what's it even called now?
Geekverse Cast. It's always been Geekverse Cast.
GeekVerse Cast
Mhm.
on Twitter is GeekVerse Pod. Or is it just GeekVerse
Wait,
Cast
no,
as well?
you're all over the map here. So Geekverse.
My brain's been frazzled the last few days, so yes, help me out
yeah,
here.
that's true.
Where can they find us, Travis?
Geekverse. You know what? In the links below. Links below is where you find us all. That's
Check us
the
on
cop-out
Patreon.
answer. Yeah, Patreon, the
Ad-free.
website. Yeah, ad-free, exclusive early episodes. After 9. We just did an After 9 last weekend. That was fun. I think the next time we'll do that is probably near the end of April. And then look out because there's going to be one in March that's really, really good. Don't spoil it, but has Taylor told you the one in March that's happening? His big thing he's planning?
I think I had a guess, but I haven't said it on air, and I'll remain silent.
You have a guess. That's bold. Okay. And then, yeah.
Well, I
Kirkland-
think it was Dylan that just like guessed it out of nowhere, and then he's like,
No.
Holy shit.
He guessed the Bionicles poll.
"Oh, okay,
This
Oh,
is
okay.
he has a special After 9 plan for me.
oh, okay,
Yeah,
yeah, he did
yeah.
tell me this."
Yeah. So he's really excited about it.
Yeah.
We're gonna see how it goes. If it's terrible, all his idea, not mine.
This isn't a GeekVerse podcast. After
No,
this
this
is a Taylor
is
Field after. Nine.
Yeah, I'm like, well, After 9's the place to do it, but it should be a fun one. And yeah, Kirkland's pimping out the shirt Manscaped, 20% off worldwide shipping, but we'll tell you more about that a little later. I know you're gonna talk
Yeah.
about your stuff, but we'll wait for the ad read, sir. Don't get too excited.
Yeah, I was gonna
now.
say it was the reason I was late, so I got to explain.
Yeah, that's why you make sure you get your Manscaped so when you get so excited, you can shave down below. Well, no, shave below, you then get excited. Oh, actually, whatever you want. If that gets you excited, if you get rock hard by the fact of getting shaving,
Sometimes
to
it
each
helps.
his own.
Honestly.
Yeah. I just edge just so I can get every single corner and everything like that. But
Nice straight angles to go at.
yeah, and then like Kirklin said about the Patreon, that's the best way. If you want more content, like this weekend, I can announce Maddie and I can announce Charles that we are doing the Patreon watches. We got American Beauty and Excalibur from 1981. I've never seen Excalibur. Have you ever seen American Beauty?
No, I haven't seen American Beauty. I was gonna watch it a while ago, but I knew it was a Patreon one, so I wanted to save it till closer to the recording. And then the Excalibur. I'm like, what movie is this? And then I looked it up, and I wasn't sure if it was the 1980 ones. That was the main one I found. I'm excited to watch that one. I've never heard of this movie, never seen it. I'm always down for a nice medieval epic.
Yeah, and that's what you can do. You can go over and support us at certain tiers and get different benefits. But most importantly, like I said, the more you get support, it's more content. That gives us more chance to host more shows, do more episodes, things like that. And you guys, the people, guys and gals who are supporting us right now, are going to be the main factor of getting all those episodes in April and May, because March is stacked as well. But just you wait, those feeds are just going to be popping off. So you know what's popping off in a couple weeks? I cannot believe it is here. Is Moon Knight. So Moon Knight's here. Well, Moon Knight's not here, but Moon Knight's here in 2 weeks. First of all, we're gonna do some predictions as always. I have a few. Don't have too many because obviously it's his first foray into the MCU. But just in general, how excited are you? Because I feel like there was this vacuum of excitement for anything just around the Batman, and now that the Batman's come out, I'm like, oh, there's this coming out, there's this coming out. So for me, like once the Batman like released, and then I saw and knew this thing existed, and now April 17th apparently it's gonna be HBO Max, so it'll be able to be watched online, all this stuff. Once that happens, like okay, now I can focus on Mooney and whatnot. But where are you right now on Moon Knight?
Yeah, I'm very, very excited. I think the hype was overshadowed by like what you just mentioned, the Batman. Absolutely, that took pretty much all my focus. So now that I've seen that, haven't seen it a second time yet. I still got to go back and see it. Shay hasn't seen it. I know it's a whole travesty. She works on the weekend, so it makes it tough.
Yeah. But go Cheap Tuesday.
Well, fuck. I had a whole shebang yesterday.
You had a whole car thing and whatnot. Yeah.
But no, I'll be seeing it again definitely before it's out of theaters. But nonetheless, for Moon Knight, I'm super, super excited. Trailers phenomenal, teasers phenomenal. Seeing images of Oscar Isaac, phenomenal. So, and also I don't know if it's an algorithm thing or if people are just getting hyped for Moon Knight, but I'm seeing so much like fan art for the character Moon Knight, and it just. Man, I love fan art. They do some really, really crazy things, and very talented people showing off their skills, and just makes me envious that I don't have any artistic talent of my own. But yeah.
Oh, speaking of that, I was looking to see if I can screen share. So I was looking at, I desperately need a new hoodie. That's like right now I'm not just some sort of long sleeve thing I'm wearing, but I desperately need a new hoodie. You look like a hobo. I look like a hobo? Oh,
yeah,
great.
that's how bad that hoodie is. So.
It's not a hoodie. No, that's what I'm not saying.
Crawl to the hoodie.
No, I said it's some sort of, I don't know, it's some sort of jacket or something. I got it for family photos, but it's a go-to like wear or whatnot. But because in the house right now, it's that awkward, like I have a tank top on, but it's like in the middle of like, it's
That's
warm
your
and cold.
Just wear a t-shirt. You're every time you're like, it's this bad part where I'm wearing a tank top and then I'm wearing a sweater. It's like, dude, just wear like a long sleeve shirt. That's a happy middle.
My tank top, like it's tank top season, Kirklin. I'm ready to bust out. The arms are too big for. No, like truthfully, this is like no. I'm not even lying. Everyone's gonna make fun of me. I can already hear it in the Discord. But legitimately, because I did bulk, because I'm at the heavyweight class. So much of my clothes don't fit, and like I've bought a bunch of new shirts and stuff, but there's just sometimes like I don't really want to wear that on the cast because I want to wear that in real life. So I have tank tops, which all the tank tops were loose, but I'm also just a tank top guy. I like not being restricted and everything like that, but then it is if I'm just the bare skin, it's like yeah, it's a little too cold. So I'm in this weird predicament. Just a couple more weeks and the house will be hot, and then I can just tank top all the time. I'll just be nude, you know?
Yeah, that's what I am. Waist down.
There you go. So hang on, let's screen share here. Share the screen. So, anyways, I'm looking for a new hoodie because I have a couple, but it's just when you know it's time, you're just like I just need a new one and I want something a bit more relevant. So I was very disappointed to see that this.
Ooh, not disappointed to see that. Oh,
that has nothing to do. I don't know why it's up there, but these I got so excited because I really liked these hoodies. not real. This guy just did fan art and made variants of them and stuff like that. But
Well,
the
he should
actual
sell them. That guy. I guess.
I think it'd be illegal.
Yeah, it's Marvel property.
Yeah, but like, oh, I guess I should probably stop sharing my fucking emails right there. That was a good idea. But so, yeah, and then the other hoodies are fine. But I really wanted a white hoodie. So we'll see. And the Batman, I was looking for some Batman logos, but I guess I'm just not. I'm over the stage of just like just the logo, like the Batman logo, and that's the hoodie. You know, I'm looking for a little more pizzazz. You know,
That's
like
fair.
yeah. So
You said white hoodie. I feel like that's a bold choice. Anytime
That's what Emily
someone's
said too,
rocking
yeah.
white clothes, I don't know. I'm a spiller too. I'm just notorious for just getting stuff on clothes, so I can never rock something like that.
Yeah.
Feel like if I was really rich, I would wear stuff like that. You know, just nice, clean white. Because I don't know, wear it once and then. I feel like also with the thing with whites is once you start washing them, they'll just lose their like pop-in whiteness. They'll start getting a little bit gray just over time.
Yeah,
but
but
when
it's
you're
a
rich,
look.
you're just wearing fresh clothes. Get rid of it. Get some new fresh clothes. Yeah,
It's
it
a
is
look, you know,
It
and
is a look.
especially right now while I'm rocking the black hair, I thought that'd be the perfect time to have the white aesthetic going on.
contrast, yes.
But yeah, I'm
Fuck,
sure
my hair
somebody's
looks pretty much black right now.
Yeah, but
Lighting.
your hair is black in real life.
It's not black. It's brown.
Yeah,
bro.
it's brownish
Same
black,
color
and it's
as the
wet.
lovely lady behind us right now, Elizabeth Olsen.
No, Elizabeth
Oh, yeah.
Olsen's hair is much lighter than yours, 100%.
You're gonna make me do some research here. Gotta
Anyways,
Google
I'm sure
images of myself.
I'll keep talking for the 3 people that are still tuned in after. Like, Charles was talking about a hoodie, you know. This is what
Yeah.
people
Well,
would
this
have never
guy's so
survived.
jacked. Oh, we get it. Tank
That's
tops.
That's not just everybody. Just it takes a little like. If I have no way to get out of this, it's me explaining my scenario and whatnot. You know, what was I gonna say? No, people would never survive the original GeekVerse because we went on for like 20 to 30 minutes. Sometimes with just random stuff, and then we got on the news and everything. You know, but
I didn't even know if we had topics in the old days.
no, it just was like, oh, what you want to talk about? I don't know. You know, let's talk about this. But no, get out there, people. It's springtime. Do a little running, eat a little healthier. It feels good. You know, it's a fun challenge. So, Moon Knight. Yeah, I'm very excited. Moon Knight. I've been waiting for. Feels like I won't say my whole life because it's definitely not been my whole life, but it just is one of those anything you've been waiting for since you were a kid feels like your whole life. So I'm looking very forward to this. Excitement, I think I don't know where I would put it if I had tiers. It's somewhere it is in an A tier, but it's not like the S tier, like an Endgame or a Logan or a Batman. That's just because like that could be down the line. But I am very curious to see what happens. I'm very curious to see what this show is like. And yeah, it's something that I like to brag about the working out. I like to brag about. I picked Oscar Isaac. I got the casting, so all the stars have aligned. I'm just hoping that it's as I've said before, I'm worried we're gonna rush it a little bit, but
Yeah.
I'm still pretty excited. I think for me that first episode is gonna be a real sign of how excited I'm gonna get.
Do you think we're gonna get 1 episode or 2 episodes at launch? Just 1, eh? Or have they announced it?
It's one, yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah. They've said just one, yeah.
Why? Why not just do 2, man?
'Cause
We
there's
got
only
2 for
6.
Hawkeye. We got 2 for
Hawkeye was
WandaVision.
because of Boba though. That's why they had to get it done before
No.
Boba was done.
WandaVision. We had 2.
9 episodes.
Add 3 more. Come on, Feige.
Yeah, well,
Okay,
I
fair enough.
wish.
You're winning this conversation or this debate, so.
So what I was gonna ask you. So with this, I know it seems like maybe a easy question, but I feel like it's nothing anyone's talked about. Maybe people just assume, oh, it's gonna happen in the regular timeline. But when do you think this is actually happening? Like, obviously, I know there could be flashbacks and whatnot, but when we meet Stephen Grant, this museum worker, is this something in a post-snap world? Is this in a pre-snap world? Because this is the reason I ask it, because, like, we got stuff like Captain Marvel right before Endgame, which was, like, a prequel to the whole MCU other than Captain America, right? So
Yeah.
I think we're all just assuming it. I think probably it is just after snap, but we don't really know that. Like, there's a chance. What if this guy becomes Moon Knight and he's around and he gets snapped, and that's why like he's been mysterious or gone for a while?
Yeah.
What if he rose up during the snap when a lot of people are
Right.
gone? And like that's what I mean. Like, do you have any feeling of what they would look at Moon Knight and be like, okay, we should put it in this era of the MCU?
Yeah, it's interesting because the type of character he is, I could honestly see him fitting in any of those situations, whether it's post snap, pre snap, or during the snap. I feel like it's a type of character that could just fit very easily anywhere because he's just such a wild card, at least to my understanding. So, like, he doesn't necessarily have to be attached to like the main, I don't know, Avengers or New Avengers or MCU squad. I don't even know who the main torchbearer would be of that crew, but just I don't know, because I'm very very intrigued on where it is, but I guess since you're asking me, if I had to put my chip somewhere, I'll definitely say post snap. I feel like the end of the season will be leading into something other than just like a season 2 of Moon Knight. I feel like it'll be him being a part of them, or being a part of the MCU crew moving forward, not just on his own adventures. I think it fit, like it could work having him in his own adventures, but he's just such a fucking cool character. Like, I feel like they're not gonna want to just waste time of having him interact with some other characters. And by saying that, I don't want to make it seem like I think he's just going to be a part of like an Avengers crew or something like that, because I feel like he's just a little too niche to just fit in there really easily. But like maybe interact with, I don't know, some Midnight Suns characters that are going to be introduced shortly, or like the Blades and like those type of crew. Ghost Rider.
Oh yeah.
Taylor Field.
Nick Cage says he hasn't been asked about it. He hasn't been asked about it.
So did Andrew Garfield. I'm just saying that.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
But yeah, no. So it's a tough answer, just because he could really fit anywhere. But I don't know. I think I'm pretty low percentage chance that it's pre-snap. Definitely more so on the during snap or post snap side, because I do think there's gonna be a lot of weird stuff that happens. But because of the character,
not from these trailers. He's running away from a fucking Egyptian skeleton boy.
Well, that's the thing, though. It's not like there's weird things happening with the multiverse, that's directly tied to like the multiverse of madness, or someone else just shattering the world, like Thanos just snapping everyone out of existence. It's in the brain. It's in the psyche. So it very much could be anywhere. So it doesn't have to be tied to this really weird event for weird things to be happening. That's why it's tough for me to pin it. But again, if you're asking me to put my chip somewhere, I do think it's post-snap, just to keep it in the race of where we are in the MCU. I don't know if that's the best way to explain it, but yeah, that's where I'm guessing.
Wes Bub has to come in here like a cold shower and says on one of the buses trailers it shows the ad for Global Reparation Council, so it's post.
So I win.
Yeah, Kirklin wins, which luckily I was going to say the same thing. I would have loved it if it was in the 5 years, but at the same time, they kind of, like, Black Widow happened, but almost that was part of the thing. They didn't dive too much more into as far as Endgame, but they did try and insinuate like lots of crime was down and lots of things were good. Like, remember when they had that council meeting and there's an earthquake in the ocean in Wakanda, and they're like, Natasha, it's just an earthquake, like, calm down. Now they might retcon that to be Namor coming up in Black Panther, but still they were trying to play up as, at least on Earth, because Captain Marvel was like, the things that are going on Earth are happening all around the world. So maybe what she was doing, and we'll find out the Marvels. Yeah, around the universe would suck, but so I would love to see him there, but at the same time, I imagine they probably would have tracked him down. But at the same time, maybe that's why I guess it would be happening now, because like Kirklin said, we don't have an official Avengers, I don't think. Nick Fury's in space, so it seems like there's kind of I don't know, there's like a vacuum of space, which I do think they need to answer soon. I think the more they get into post MCU Endgame life, that they do got to start answering, okay, what's the stake of the Avengers? Who the fuck bought Avengers Towers already? I agree with Brent too, that he always brings up on Marvel Alliance, like, what is the what's the public status of Steve Rogers? The only reason I'm laughing is because Kirklin was a dick before we started this cast. It's Taylor's week off, and as we were starting, Kirklin's like, "Where are you, Taylor?" And he's like, "It's my week off?" I'm gonna let you respond to him because I'm talking. But I agree with Brent that I want to know, what does the public think of Steve Rogers, because we know that he went into a portal or whatever, went in and got zapped back in time, stuck with Peggy. Is it a different universe? Is it in our same universe? Who knows? But Steve Rogers is gone, right? He was at the funeral with at Tony. So you feel like the public or other people would be like, hey, we saw Steve Rogers after the battle. Like, where has he been? So I think there needs to be, and I think you might get that in the first Avengers, the same way the first Avengers movie had all the Avengers in it, but it was just like them all spread out, and then an event made them come together and was like, oh, we should be the Avengers. I could see the next Avengers movie having like a roster of like 2 to 3 people only and being like, okay, we need to get some more people. Do I think Moon Knight's on that roster? No, but I think Midnight Suns is like the easiest route to go. I think that makes sense because he's going to be in that darker MCU. People or, you know, of kind of mid-tier scoopers that have put out that Blade might work as like the Nick Fury for the, you know, darker side of the MCU, which I think works for most people other than Strange. Like, I love Blade, but I don't know why Blade would come to Doctor Strange and be like, hey, you're going to be part of the Midnight Suns. I feel like Strange would be like, yeah, I got other, like, I don't know, I might have other stuff going on than vampires, man, but cool, I'll be a part of this team. Who knows? So I think it is post. I think, though, the good thing is with these flashbacks, like, I won't reveal much of his origin because the show's coming up, but with Mark Spector's origin in Egypt, that could easily happen at any time. You know, like how he interacts with Khonshu and the whole thing pops off. That doesn't have to be post MCU. That could, we don't know how long he's been dealing with these effects. Sometimes that happens when this event happens, and then sometimes it's been traced back to when he's been a child. So that's why you could kind of get flashbacks all over. So I think our time when we meet Stephen Grant will be in the post-snap world. I'm not calling the blip because I heard that. I watched No Way Home and I just still fucking hate the blip. It's just the blip. But anyways, so I think it'll be a post-world with lots of flashbacks and stuff like that. So
Yeah, I mean, they already show like some Egyptian stuff, so I definitely think we're going to be bouncing around all over the place.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So do you think any other MCU characters will appear in this show? It's tough because you have all this talk about Midnight Suns, but producers and stuff, if they're just saying this, and some people have seen the first 4 episodes, and they say it's like very standalone-ish, very almost like the way Black Panther was as far as that movie where, okay, it's in the MCU, but it's very standalone by itself, but you still have someone like Bucky that appears in it right quickly, you know? So what are you on as far as anyone from the MCU? And I guess, you know, does a Blade, I guess a Blade counts. We've heard his voice, but we still haven't seen him, you know?
Yeah, that'd be wild for just like the first full character reveal, like in his outfit and everything, looking full Blade. That'd be crazy. I don't know, because I want to see it, but at the same time, I kind of want it to be like an epic theater moment of like being in there the first time I see Blade. Thought I was gonna get it in Eternals. That would have saved the movie, maybe, maybe not. But yeah, I didn't get it. I'm gonna say. It's tough here because I feel like very easily they could have like one of those side characters that was in, I don't know, whatever it was going to be. Kind of like, what's her name?
One of the teachers from No Way Home?
Yeah, sure. Like, exactly.
Hi,
No, exactly. Like that type of role. I feel like this is a type of show where they could fit someone like that in there just to, you know, keep it like you're feeling like you're in the MCU world. It's world building.
Yeah.
You bring back similar characters. I think it's very possible that we get someone like that.
Who would that be, though?
I can't name who it would be exactly because where is he? Is he in New York?
I think he's supposed to be. No, I'm not trying to sound like a fucking mad fanboy. He's from New York
Darcy,
in the comic books.
That was the name I was looking for.
Darcy, yeah.
Yes.
But he's this show. It seems like he's in London somewhere.
Yeah, okay. So,
yeah. But he's usually originated from New York. So I think they're going to say something like Mark Spector lives in New York when Stephen Grant lives in London or something like that. Long commute to do his museum job.
It's going to be like same time frame as No Way Home. Runs into just Peter Parker. Oh, yeah, that's where you find the teacher that you're talking about.
Yeah. I used to go here.
Yeah. It's one of those things where I can't name a name. If I have to give a name for my answer, I guess I'm going to say no because I just don't know who it would actually be.
I think that thing is like, yeah, Espo's just using Darcy as an example. It wouldn't be Darcy just because like that to me would take me right out of it if Darcy was in Moon Knight. Now, I'm not expecting Moon Knight to not have any sort of MCU humor, but they are. Kevin Feige keeps talking about like, oh, it's a different type of MCU project, and we're taking a lot of different slants. So I feel like you got to be a little careful. As far as people we know, yeah, I just don't think there's anybody like because we're still just dipping our toes into like the magical side of stuff. Like we got Doctor Strange, and one I guess is, you know, they're kind of retconning it as magic and things like that, but really the rest have all been science based or aliens and stuff like that. So we like once we, like maybe a Wong or something like that. I do think there had been rumors about Blade appearing, and I do think that is one. I am very curious to see, like, maybe they are just repeating Avengers 1 where he gets Dane Whitman from Eternals and he gets Moon Knight here. I guess there's still part of me that wonders from what they're showing us. I just don't feel Moon Knight, whichever version it is, at the end it's going to be like, to me, after 6 episodes, I don't know if I would feel that he's going to be ready to jump into a team or something, like it's just that's my worry about it, just them rushing to that kind of final point where it's like, oh, he's good to go and he can control his identity. Is like, that's my worry. Is like, well, we really want him in the movie, so we got to get to that point. I just don't know at the end of the season, could Blade come talk to him and be like, yeah, maybe it's I have something you want, or I can help you this sort of way. That way I could kind of believe it. Or maybe Mark is looking for someone and Blade can help him with that. But if it's like, hey, I'm starting the Midnight Suns initiative, I don't see that really working.
My counter to that would be if maybe he is becoming friends with what's the protagonist's name? Not Moon Knight. Is
Mark Spector, Stephen
Mark
Grant.
Spector. It's both. Is that how that works?
Well,
Or
Stephen
one and the
Grant's the
same?
museum worker, and then Stephen Grant's the museum. Yeah, Mark Spector's the guy that they've shown when he's like in Egypt, like he's the mercenary.
Still Oscar Isaac though.
Yeah, all these people are still Oscar Isaac.
See, that's where like I could see it. Maybe one version of them is more friendly, and then it's just like
one
a
agrees
split
to join.
Situation.
Yeah,
yeah. So it like, and then maybe that's an issue, right? Like it's tough to actually trust this guy because he's just such a wild card. One second he's this, another second he's that. I mean, I'm not the most well read on the character of Moon Knight, and by the most well read, I mean I basically haven't read anything on him. I'm going in it pretty blind, but I don't know. I think that could be a fun dynamic, just story wise, of having a character who is very powerful, very strong, and would be a great asset, and you want to be able to trust him, but he's just battling an inner battle with his own brain and with Khonshu, this Egyptian god. I don't even know if you can trust that thing. So I think that would be a fun aspect, and I mean, yeah, you mentioned Dane Whitman and Blade both. I mean, Dane was in London, right? Like that's where Eternals was kind of started. So I don't know. Like maybe Kit Harington is in this briefly, just to be like, hey, remember me from Eternals? Yeah, I'm gonna be around going forward.
Everyone's like, no.
Yeah, I would say that. You all right there?
Excuse me. Yeah, drink some water. Went down the wrong hole there, but oh boy, I'm gonna take another sip of water there.
Yeah, I'll keep the crowd happy.
No, it's fine.
Tonight?
Oh yeah, that's fine. Well, no, it's
no
fine.
response.
Yeah, that's not going to go well. But it's funny, you're just talking about strong and powerful. Another thing that's strong and powerful is Manscaped. Manscaped, you can use our code GVPOD 20% to get free shipping and 20% off. There's lots of good things going on right now, but I have to talk to Kirklin because we've been through a lot with Manscaped. All good things. We got the comfy t-shirts, we got the great 4.0, we got the nose trimmer, the weed whacker, all that sort of things. Products that we all love, we all used before. And when I say about strong and powerful, you have not been with us yet since you have tried out. We got a bunch of stuff. We got the shampoo because, like I said before, I'm very happy that Manscaped, when we tried them out, I liked them. And I was like, I just want them to make more. That's why I got the plow and stuff like that. And I honestly was like, I hope they have a shampoo at some point. They've done that. They've started shampoo. They've started a lip balm. They've started a body wash, a whole bunch of stuff. And we got to try it out. I have been enjoying it very much. I talked about it a couple weeks ago. But again, just if you haven't heard, I like it. It's nice and smooth. Has a nice scent to it, not too overpowering and whatnot. But Kirklin Patzer, what do you think about your Manscaped cleaning adventures right now?
Yes, no, absolutely. I mean, I was delaying the start of the podcast because I was just in the shower getting my Manscaped on, and that was the first time I got to use the body wash. And man, when I was just coming out of there, you know, I'm all Manscaped up. I got all the products on me. I'm feeling like Cal Jacobs senior year, you know, state champion wrestling.
Ready
like
to
I just,
wrestle.
oh, absolutely. I'm just ready to go. I'm butt ass naked in my shower, but just smelling like a man. And yeah, no, it's awesome. It's really, really good stuff. I've been carrying that lip balm around with me all like the past 2 weeks, and you know, like if you've used the Manscaped products, it's got the man smell, and that's absolutely fantastic. But a part of me was like, I don't know if that's like the best for the lips. Like before I actually tried the product,
Yeah.
but when I used it, you know, it's actually like a nice, I don't even know what, like a peppermint or something like that. Like it's a good it's what you want from a lip balm, and it's fantastic. You know, it's been
It's not the body wash on your lips. It's,
no,
it's
no, exactly.
It's refined and good.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
It's the perfect product for what you're using it for. And yeah, I was a little suspicious just because I'm like, am I gonna be getting crop preserver here on my lips? I don't know exactly. I'm gonna try it because everything else I've used from Manscaped's awesome, but no, the lip balm is fantastic. Especially just. Fuck, it's been oddly chilly where we are. We're getting the springtime, but it's been chilly, and my lips have just been so freaking dry and cracked. I just keep licking them. So, don't do that. Use Manscaped, and yeah, no, it's fantastic. I'm still loving my lawnmower and my weed whacker. I still can't believe I used to go with just like the tweezers pulling pulling nose hairs.
Brutal.
Especially now that I don't know where you are in the world, but I know where you are, Travis. But listeners, I don't know where you are in the world. But our mask mandates have been lifted, so I've been wearing no mask at work. So I actually got to keep up with the weed whacking, my keep those nose hairs down, and I still got to get the plow. Actually, I really want to try that. I got to get because I'm just using like the electric razor. But as you mentioned in however many days pass. Now that I'm getting older, my hairs, they come in a little bit quicker.
Yeah.
After each shave, so you got to do a cleaner shave. So yeah, I'll definitely have to try out the plow and give my quick review there. But no, absolutely fantastic. Go use GVPOD, 20% off worldwide shipping, and yeah, no, I've just been pimping it out too at work. Everybody's just asking about it because it's just really well. I feel like it's a well-established name now. Like it's not just one of those niche things. Like, oh, what product is that? Like people know about the Manscaped, so it's really awesome to be able to represent them and have us support us. So yeah.
Well,
really,
I think
really
that's
awesome.
that's a good thing. You're breaking the fourth wall here, Manscaped. But lots of people, when they do like a big promotional push, it always helps when the product's actually good, because that's always you can spend as much money as you want, but if people won't actually like here's the thing, we tried it out and we all happen to like it, but that's why we went with it. That's why multiple of us have bought products that we weren't sponsored for because we liked what they did, and that's the biggest thing, that when you have quality, that's when the word spreads. It helps that we're spreading the word and telling people, and some of our friends and families and listeners have gotten it, and that's great, but that's also because they have to get it and then also like that product, and that's why it makes me want to have more of that product and everything like that. So make sure
100%.
if you've not getting, like Kirklin said, I don't know where you are, but if mask mandates are coming down, do that. If you're on the dating scene, hopefully pants mandates are going to be coming down, so you're going to want to be using
Did you
those.
just say pants mandates?
Pants mandates. You want to be taking them off, and you want to be looking clean and groomed just like your upper region. So Manscaped, yes, get Manscaped right now for the best below the belt in men's grooming. Millions of men are doing it. You should be too. Or ladies, because again, maybe your guy's always like, yeah, I'm cleaning up down there, I'm doing this. Maybe this is like, oh, he'll like it as a gift, but it's a good hint of like, hey, you could do better down there, and that's the best thing. So
it is definitely not just for men. I can attest to that. And very good reviews. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and the shampoos, lip balms, they have tons of stuff for women as well. So we're gonna take an ad break, and then we're gonna be right back to Moon Knight, because we got a couple more questions. So we'll be right back. And we're back. So where was I in the... Okay, so as of right now, and this might be a bit harder for you to answer, but still, I think you get the general sense. So right now, we got you got Moon Knight, the superhero. You got looking like Mr. Knight, that's going to be in there. You got Steven Grant, and you got Mark Spector. Now, there's another one, Jake Lockley, who is like the taxi driver. There's one that's called like Inner Child or Inner Heart or something. I can't remember. I gotta look it up. It's escaping
This
right now.
sounding more and more like Split, honestly.
Well, it is like that, but like it's like one where he has like it's like a little girl in his body and stuff like that. But do you think the 4 personalities we have right now, and the thing is, it's the MCU, so they can introduce other ones right now, like even just new ones. Do you think though, with this show, with the 6 episodes we have, we'll stick to these 4 personalities, or do you think we could see more?
I definitely think we can see more. Honestly, from like that initial trailer, all they showed was, to my understanding, just Moon Knight, and then our main character as the museum curator or whatever, or he's like a gift shop worker, isn't he? He's not even the museum curator. So, and then as we've seen more and more trailers, just slowly introducing these other versions, and then that one poster, is it official where it's Mr. Knight, Oscar Isaac, and then like the Moon Knight, and then I think there's another version. Maybe not. I think it might have just been the 3. Do you know if that's an official poster, or is that just one of those fan art?
There's
things?
official artwork of Mr. Knight, but I don't know if that one's an official poster. That one you're talking about. Yeah.
So then, is that the magazine cover? the Mr. Knight one when he's like rolling up his
Yes.
sleeves and he looks
Yeah,
all
yeah.
badass. Yeah, so like that wasn't shown right away. So I feel like just the fact that they're kind of slowly releasing some more versions of him. I definitely think there's going to be more. I mean, I'm a person that I didn't even know there was multiple versions of Moon Knight. I thought it was just Moon Knight, Mark Spector, and that was it. So I also think just the potential of having a phenomenal actor like Oscar Isaac interacting with himself, or like you know, like I don't think it's gonna be full split where he's just going for like just bonkers off the walls with different personalities, but just to have him interacting with another version of himself indirectly or directly, I think that's awesome, and I think that's some great potential. I don't think there's a lot of room for failure there, just because Oscar Isaac's such a great actor, and I think that'll be phenomenal, and I really want that to happen. Because I don't know, like our last question about like, are we going to be seeing a lot of different MCU characters? It doesn't have to have that, because like just what this character is, like it could just be him fighting with his own inner demons. You could be Oscar Isaac fighting Oscar Isaac here. So I'm really excited for that, and I do hope there's a lot of different versions of him, and I'm really excited to see how those different versions play, especially, you know, coming from someone that really has minimal knowledge on the character. I'm really excited to just be engulfed to the point that it makes me want to jump into the comics, and I think they should aim to do that. You know, it's the MCU. They're pumping up the cinematic universe, but I still think they should do a lot of good service to just push people to the comics, because there's so many stories, you know, in the comics. If you get away from just the movies, go into the paper, the paper pages. I don't know what I was trying to aim there, but
Pants.
the
Yeah, I think you might get hints towards other ones, but I think they could save them. The only reason I think they're going to stick just primarily with the 4 is
Yeah.
just because, like, it is just only 6 episodes, and there's a lot of stuff. Here you go, says there's an official poster showing Moon Knight, Mr. Knight, and neither Mark
I think that's
Spector
the
or
one I
Steve Grant.
saw.
It's just Oscar Isaac and a hoodie. Oh, okay, yeah, those
Maybe
ones,
I'll pull
right?
up the one I
No,
saw.
yeah, I know which ones you're talking about. Well, there's 3 variants of it though, because there's one where it's like Mark/Stevens in the middle, Moon
Yeah,
Knight's in the middle.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Okay, I've seen those. Yeah, those are all official. So
Really
that's
cool looking
that's
too.
the only reason why I think we're gonna stick with the 4, because I think Steve Grant will be our gateway into it. I'm not sure Mark Spector will be the main character or not. And I guess another question too. I wonder how much just screen time in general Moon Knight the hero has. You know, like we don't know. It could be very minimal. It could be more just the Steve Grant Mark Spector show, or about like him becoming Moon Knight. But him in the actual costume, it could be an event when he happens. But I could see, I feel like episode 1 they're gonna have to give it to people, but I could see it being a bit more minimal. Maybe the finale is a lot of it, but I guess the other thing for me is it all depends. And that's why I have to wait and see, because if it's not the comic books, I'll judge it how it is. There's still part of me goes, it's a little rushed. And that's why with Mr. Knight, that's a character that kind of encompasses. He's a detective at times, but he also encompasses a lot of the personalities and tries to find a way to make them work together. It can kind of be like the guiding light for them, and that's why if that they tackle that a lot, that's going to take up a lot of time. So that's why I think the 4 also is a good gateway, because obviously it was split. You had McAvoy's character, but that was like the antagonist, right? So you just had to show off little things. If this guy is the protagonist and you still have to learn to care about him, if you spread it too thin right away, you'll be like, well, who do I care about? Why should I care? You know, so that's why I think they'll stick with the 4. Maybe they'll allude to the ones, or maybe the other ones will be kind of there, but they're hitting the major ones right now. They're changing them up, but the major 3 are Jake Lockley, Steve Grant, Mark Spector, and they're hitting 2 out of the 3 of those. So, and even Stephen Grant, they're changing a little bit because he's a director. So hopefully it's a full 6 hours, as Webb says. I doubt it. I think they're going to be there jumping between like 30 to 50, you know, episodes and stuff like that. I hope they're all like 40 plus. That'd be nice, because I don't know. I think this is like She-Hulk's different. I think it's going to be longer because it's a comedy. You got Secret Invasion coming up. You still have Miss Marvel, which we'll talk about later. But Moon Knight to me is going to be a really test of if it feels like it's missing something of, okay, maybe we should stop doing these 6 episodes. Maybe put them up. But again, maybe the budget is just good for 6 episodes, you know? So
Yeah. I mean, time will tell, right? I definitely agree with you where, I don't know, if I start episode 3 and it's like 28 minutes, I'm definitely going to feel a little raw before it even starts, honestly. Just because knowing it's 6 episodes, I don't know. Could be wrong there, but I definitely want them to have like a bare minimum 45 minutes.
Okay, so do you think that the season finale will be a close-ended, like, hey, you could, put them in the movies, not do another show, or do you think it will be specifically leaving us for a season 2 of Moon Knight? Because we've heard kind of mixed things about that. This could be. They keep saying a mini series. They keep saying like an event series, which they all kind of are. But this one they are really, pumping. They're like, okay, it's 6 episodes, but at the same time. You never know what's going to happen. Viewership money, stuff like that. So do you think the ending of the show will leave you in a place where there's kind of a cliffhanger, or do you think it's going to be pretty close-ended?
Um, I I don't want to say it's close ended just because this has got to be the start of something new, to quote a High School Musical. But
Jesus, that's the second time I've heard this quote this week.
oh really?
Yeah,
Who was the other person?
Emily was the other one.
Yeah. Is she a fan?
Yeah, she watches
Guilty
the shitty
pleasure.
show on right now too. So
Oh, Olivia Rodrigo's in there.
I know that's where I saw her first. So yeah.
Oh, okay. But yeah, no, I think this is the start of a really, really interesting character, and I feel like this would be an easier. If anyone is interested in reading the Moon Knight comics, try the takes it away from me mid-read.
I was gonna. You were talking. I was gonna push out the watchers. He said, if anyone's interested in reading, try Charlie Houston's run. Yeah, absolutely, it's a good one. It kind of really started. It's more dark ones that kind of started some of the split personality things. I always recommend the Jeff Lemire one too. That one's a really good one. I'm behind on the
CBV
current
in
one.
the future.
Yeah, we were gonna maybe do some this year, or this month, but we got just so busy. But yeah, that one definitely. It's tough on that one because that one you kind of have to be a bit more of a qualified Moon Knight reader. But that one's very Fight Club and very,
Nice.
very heady. But it's one of my favorite. The artwork in it is phenomenal. So
Cool. That's awesome.
Yes,
but yeah,
they're
no,
all good.
I feel like after, I feel like after, like episode 1, I'm very
Mhm.
intrigued to see like the numbers wise, like if this is just one of those shows that just absolutely blows expectations for like just people seeing it, and like a lot of people going to Disney Plus just to see this. I think that'll be a big indication of what's going to come afterwards, because I don't think like the no, never mind. I was gonna say I don't think like the Captain America 3 would have happened if it wasn't so successful, but never mind. It totally would have happened. He's such a big character, and he was a part of the Avengers, so it would only make sense that he's gonna have his big feature film. But I was gonna, just going off what I was saying, those numbers wise, I feel like that'll kind of be a determining factor for where they're going with Moon Knight. And it's not gonna be the main factor because obviously they have a plan with which characters are gonna interact, and like story wise, it's not just all about numbers. Like who's successful. Okay, we're gonna keep this show going or push this into a movie. I think things can change though from plans depending on stuff like that. I don't think it's the biggest factor, but I definitely think it plays a part.
Well, to your
but,
point, Kirkland, you can read S Bub's comment here.
They said Kenobi was a limited event series, and now they're saying that there's discussions about season 2. So I think all that matters is viewership. So all that matters is viewership. I don't think I would go that far, but I definitely agree. It's a good
It's reason
contributing
number
factor.
A.
Reason number A.
I think like at
Yeah.
the same point, if they for some reason like I don't think Moon Knight, I think it'll be a success. I don't think it'll be a mega success. But
I
for
don't think
some
it's- yeah.
reason, if it premieres and they get a whole bunch of new subs like that 2 days, and they survey people like the reason I watch it was because of Moon Knights. It's like, yeah, sure, maybe it's the same way I think Toby and Andrew will be back one day, just because it's like that's a massive film, right? It's just like, why wouldn't you try it again? So I think it's not the only reason, but it is probably reason number A, is stuff like that. And the watcher
Yeah.
says if Moon Knight really clicks with the audience, I can see him moving into a film possibly. I can see I think like we've talked about before, the team ups and whatnot. I'll be interested to see if he would get a solo, but at the same time I feel like I keep forgetting about it because it's been a while since we've heard any updates. But they proved me wrong after Falcon Winter Soldier when that happened, and you're referring to Falcon Winter Soldier, and then the week later, oh yeah, we're gonna have Sam do a Captain America 4 movie. And I was like, oh shit, I guess you can have people have a Disney Plus show and then literally go have a movie. So it's possible, right? Maybe you could have a Moon Knight movie. And I've kind of written that off, but I kind of forgot about the Captain America 4 thing. So it's very possible to watch her. It's one of those things that, and I would like that because we've talked about before. My only worry with Oscar Isaac being there, it's a good thing he is there, but because he's such a busy actor, my worry is that, he can only be a team up guy like the Hulk, and he can only be around in crossovers. If we only get like one Moon
Until
Knight
that big
show,
Disney money comes.
Well,
Go
yeah,
clear a
yeah.
schedule.
But if we were only get that one, let's say for like 3 or 4 years, we only got the one solo show, I'd be pretty disappointed if that's all we got of him solo-y. Sure, I'd love to see him pound around with people and, enacting justice and stuff like that. But, I Loki, Loki, we're getting to season 2. And that's where so I think it's going to be. I think the show itself will be close-ended, but I think the end credit will be the alluding of where you would see Moon Knight next, or the potential track for where he's going. I don't think it's going to end with like, oh, Moon Knight's on it. Like, it could end with, yeah, Moon Knight's in the streets, like, looking after taking out bad guys. But I don't mean it's going to be like, oh, he's looking for, he's looking for French. He needs to find French, or he's looking for the next bad guy. There could be some generic, like the way X-Men 1 ended, where Wolverine's like, I got to go find out my origins. Like, it could be like that, where Moon Knight's like, I got to go find, this thing. But
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be a little cliffhanger the same way like Loki was, right? Where it's like, this is like, we got Loki and then the end credit was season 2. I don't think that's going to happen. And I don't think the show's going to end in a way where, okay, you have to have a season 2. It's like, okay, you can have a movie. He could pop up somewhere else or continue his story elsewhere. The same way Incredible Hulk. Technically, it doesn't really end open-ended. Yeah, he's still a Hulk and it sucks, but it just ends with him in a cabin somewhere smiling for some reason. And then it's just like, hey, you want to be a part of the Avengers,
He starts wearing the shield or something like that. Yeah, you brought up a lot of good points with, like, even just outside of the what's the word I'm looking for? Just outside of like the production side or the on-screen stuff, like, behind the scenes of like him just being a Disney actor. Like, that's definitely a contributing factor for what they can do. Because it's not like an up and coming star. Like, he's already very established, so it's not like he's just, oh yeah, I'm gonna just lean into this as a great opportunity. Like, he already has great opportunities. Like, he just was a huge star in Dune. He is.
I feel like next to Tom Hiddleston and Ewan, is there anybody else that's got a Disney Plus show that's on his level? Because like, go down them. You got Paul Bettany and Elizabeth Olsen. I feel like Elizabeth Olsen's on that level, but that was because after the show, not before the show.
I agree.
I think Anthony Mackie and Sebastian Stan are below him as far as like tier level, as far as like star.
I agree.
Who else have we got? We got Renner. You can make a case for, but I still feel like Isaac is a bit more like. I think they're on the level, but I think Isaac's a bit more of a star.
What has Renner really been in other than The Bourne?
The Town. He's just a guy in a lot of stuff.
Town.
He was in Tag.
Right, yeah.
He was in Mission Impossible. But again, as we saw though,
in Tag, yeah.
yeah. But as we saw though, right? Hawkeye, Lois viewed Marvel show. Not that it didn't do good, but it still was the lowest of the ones, even with Haley Steinfeld. So I think that answers that question. But again, it'll be interesting to see if Moon Knight comes out and what if it's that same Hawkeye numbers, right?
I think this is probably, out of all the Disney Plus shows, this is probably like the most intrigued I've been for the numbers side of it.
Yeah.
Because it's such a bizarre like subject matter, even though he looks really cool, and like everyone that's seen him in action, whether it's like with the cape, and just like the Khonshu stuff, like a lot of people are intrigued on that, like the cool side of it, but it's still a really bizarre situation. Like, this guy is he's tying himself to the bed and putting salt circles around his bed. Like, it's very, I feel like it's going to be a pretty heady show. And to me personally, I feel like that's not the most general audience friendly.
But that was
show.
WandaVision, kind of like, it wasn't too heady as Moon Knight, but it was like trippy, and everyone fell in love with WandaVision. Right?
True, but I feel like a lot of people that I talk to that aren't completely engulfed with MCU stuff, they didn't really care for the earlier episodes of Wanda. They were kind of taken out of it, and then once it got more to like Avengers type stuff going on, just superheroes being superheroes.
Is that Quicksilver?
Then they were getting into it again. They're really liking it, and I feel like this is again more heady stuff. And if there is going to be action, there's going to be some brutal action, as we saw in that trailer of him beating on that one creature in the bathroom. And I'm not talking about his penis.
Yeah.
But
Manscaped, GVPOD. The thing that does help it, though, at least one thing it has going for it, first MCU project since No Way Home, right? There's been nothing else since December. So it's that kind of pop in the cherry new
People
year. You get excited.
Yep.
I think Batman just being big helps, just because, not because it's Marvel DC, but just like when there's good comic book stuff, people want more good comic book stuff,
Caped
right?
Crusader.
Yeah, exactly. They look, it's this guy looks like Batman. And then you have, I think people are getting hyped for Doctor Strange and stuff. So yeah, I am very curious to see where this goes. Espo says Oscar Isaac and Tom Hiddleston are very close in the fame level. I think that's a good comparison. Yeah, the only reason I have Ewan up there is because I don't think Ewan is that level, but I think Ewan as Obi-Wan is that level where it's like people will go, oh, I want. It's like seeing someone in a classic role like Connery and Bond. It's like Connery was a big actor. I mean, it's a bad comparison, but there's just certain people when they go back to their old role, the role that really made them huge. That's the okay. Now you're a star. Him on himself, not the same level. I still give Hiddleston a little bit more of a bump just because he's been popular since 2011, where Oscar Isaac, I feel like people just started to know his name Star Wars time, like, and even then I feel more like Last Jedi-ish because Force Awakens, he's not in that movie that much. Obviously he opens it, but I feel like around that 2015, 2016 apocalypse happens, stuff like that. Like he starts to build. So I give Hiddleston a little bit more, but I think they are equal. But again, let's see. But again, also, I don't expect it to hit Loki numbers, which was 2.5 million on the premiere because Loki he's an A tier character where Moon Knight is a being nice A C tier, like as far as just like people knowing him, not like the level character he is. But
it's interesting with Oscar Isaac because I think the first thing I really noticed that it was Oscar Isaac as this actor was Ex Machina. And I loved him in that role when he's just getting like drunk and just partying and dancing with the robot lady, like.
Because he's so good, he does that. You're like,
so
who's
good.
this guy? Like that.
Yeah, no, that's literally
thing,
like what I had, and whatever era that movie came out. Like that was early podcast days when, like in Dylan's basement, you recommended that movie to me.
Yeah, I think it might. I think it technically might have came out before podcast started because I think it was 2014, 2015.
I watched it on Netflix, so yeah.
Yeah, and then when you go back, you see him. He's like in Drive. He's like in all this stuff where it's like, oh, he was this guy. Yeah,
he's been around.
Yeah,
he's been around the block.
2014. So yeah, it was a year before we started.
I definitely agree with you that he is the biggest man, the biggest person. We were bringing up females there. I don't know why I said men, but the biggest manscaper of the DC or Disney Plus shows. It's gonna be interesting for like when the next shows come out, if they just, because it's just growing, they're just gonna be getting like bigger and bigger actors and characters. To just fill these roles, but. Nonetheless, getting back to the question on if we're getting a season 2 or a movie or something like that, if I had to put my chips somewhere, which I got to because that's what we do here, I would say more collab movie or season 2. I think it's too much to just have like a Moon Knight solo movie right off the hop. Let him build, and then maybe in a collab movie or something, there's like a big threat that he has a lot of ties to in his own personal lore, and then he can kind of lean that into his own movie. But with how this adventure seems like it's going to be going from the trailers, at least, I think it's very likely that we'll get a season 2 for this because I don't know, it is heady and stuff, but I still think people are going to be loving Oscar Isaac. They're going to be loving the character Moon Knight. I mean, I've only heard praise for just the suit alone. Like, it just looks so badass.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of people are loving that. So I think it's going to sell a lot of merch, too. A lot of people are going to be rocking some new Moon Knight shirts and stuff like that.
Well, I want to buy some
Hoodie.
merch, but yeah, all the hoodies are kind of meh.
Look at Taylorfield to just do a Marvel knockoff.
Yeah, don't tell anybody. Buy it and then take it off our marketplace.
Cube Rider, something like that.
Go check out. We on TeePublic, we got a GeekVerse shirt store. Go check that out. And we got the Discord. Go check that out. Always good times popping off. The Watcher, I'm down for season 2 or film after first season. Any way we can get him, definitely for sure. He's a great character. It would be such a shame to waste him. Which, that's the thing. I don't think they'll waste him. I don't know how he have for solo events going on. And that's what says everyone loves Loki. Not sure if there's many universally liked Marvel characters in the MCU. You know what? I didn't think about that, but that could be a case that I think there might be some. I think for the most part, I'd probably still say Iron Man. I think there's like a small niche of us. Like, and I actually I don't even know why I'm saying like Iron Man. I just like the reason I could say he's universally loved because I feel like he gets passed for a lot of the shit he did. The fact that people are still taking his side in Civil War is like, oh, I don't know, but yeah, that'd be an interesting topic. I think
the war is over, Travis. You're still just like, come on,
spit on his grave. But yeah, it's over. But you know what? If Civil War didn't happen, there's a chance the snap didn't happen because the Avengers would be together. I'd also say another universally loved one is probably Paul Rudd as Ant-Man as well too. I just feel like people just
he's the type of actor. It's hard to not like him. So it's
but if you were
that to his characters,
but if you would have cast him as I don't know, like Punisher. And I think people, I think people are like, I like Paul Rudd,
Okay,
but I
a
don't
lot of
think
comic book fans would be pissed.
Fuck, I want to see that though. Really bad in a What If episode. Scott Lang as
It's
the
like a
Punisher.
beard or something.
Yeah.
Just
You
looking all
took hope away
grizzly.
from me. Let's see. Yes, S-Bub says that. I mean, Ethan Hawke is a villain and he's a huge actor. I won't say huge because I still feel like he's a guy that your parents be like, oh, I've seen him in a bunch. Like, oh, what's his name? And then they'd eventually get to Ethan Hawke. Huge to me is Brad Pitt, George Clooney, a huge actors. Everybody can name this person by showing them a photo of Jennifer Aniston, Angelina Jolie. I don't know why I'm just naming Brad Pitt's
Leo.
exes. Leo,
There
Gwyneth
you go,
Paltrow,
save it.
another Brad Pitt ex.
It's got a lot.
Fuck, what's another? Lady Gaga. You know, those are huge.
Oh,
I
she's
think
not a huge actor. She's a huge character. She's a huge individual. I wouldn't say she's known for her acting.
no. Okay, fine, sure. She's starting to transition more that way though.
I
To
agree.
eventually so
I agree.
you know.
But you're
I was
bringing
gonna
up
say
like Brad
Beyonce.
Pitt, Leo, and then you just like Lady Gaga. I know you're you're loving her and everything. And she's great
Montero.
and stuff she's in.
But and same thing like as Elizabeth Olsen. I say she's getting bigger, but I don't know if she's huge yet. Like I think she's getting
Showed
close
her
to that
acting
level.
chops
Yeah.
just with like the character of Wanda, and I think she's gonna be able to showcase more of that talent going forward.
Formerly huge, just like after coitus and stuff like that. Big actor. Yeah, I mean, and I think so. But formerly huge. Plus, he's just looking kind of fucking weird in this show, so I'm not sure people would know. But
Yeah.
well, that's Moon Knight predictions. We'll be here at midnight in 2
Not
weeks'
even ask my
time.
predictions. You know, this guy just assumes I don't have any of my own.
Okay, Kirklin.
Oh well, now I'm nervous. Now I don't even want to mention them.
No.
Do you think there's gonna be a moment when I don't even have official predictions? They're just like fun asks. So here's my fun asks.
Ask away. Fun ask.
Need like a
by
little
Kirkland
theme for
Patzer.
this. Kirkland's fun
Formerly
asks.
huge Kirkland Patzer.
Formerly huge. Hey, I'm still huge. I beat you in the sports title. Come on.
There was
Till I-
controversy
till I
there.
lose that
10
belt.
fingers. 10 fingers.
I see 8 and 2 thumbs. But nonetheless, do you think there's gonna be a moment when Oscar Isaac, as whoever human form he's, Mark Spector, I already forgot the other name. Do you think he's actually gonna like battle Khonshu or like actually have like a physical confrontation with the character of Khonshu or the idea of what Moon Knight is? And like, you know, it could be a psychological battle, but still for the
Yes.
viewers, it's gonna be physical. You
Yes,
think so?
I think
Yeah.
it'll be
Oh,
more
yeah.
psychological, but yeah, it's gonna happen.
Oh yeah, I'm very very much looking forward to that. Just absolutely this Egyptian god just humbling Mark Spector, just kicking the shit out of him. I'm really want to see that on screen.
I think you're gonna get that. I think you're gonna get a lot of William Dafoe 2002 Spider-Man of talking in the mirror or reflections
yeah.
and shit like that between all. The
I want to see
personalities.
crazy Oscar Isaac as like the super soldier serum.
We killed them. We what? Oh well.
Does
no,
Oscar
but
Isaac have like a wild laugh like that?
He would. He would if
Yeah.
if they asked him to bust one out. I guarantee you he'll have one.
Oh,
but
yeah.
yeah, I think him and Conchu will definitely throw down in the
Nice.
mind and even in physical. Maybe Conchu comes up, but it's definitely gonna happen.
Yeah, and then I definitely didn't see it in that first like shot of Khonshu appearing in that hallway scene, but there was, I think it was either the teaser, I don't know, one of the trailers or images. It was him like standing from behind. You see like his head actually floating and stuff. The more I see of that character, I am so in love with the character design.
Oh,
I don't know
yeah.
if that's directly ripped from the comics or anything like
It's-
that. But
it's pretty
They did a
re-
really good job.
Yeah, it looks a lot like the one I refer to, the Jeff Lemire run. It looks a lot more like the recent years of Khonshu. So they kind of have this like creepy, rotting, you know, Egyptian mummified sort of look and stuff
Very
like
ancient.
that. So,
I
yeah,
feel like-
very
yeah.
ancient. Yeah, which I think works. You know.
Absolutely. Yeah. S-Bubs brought up that shot in the trailers of him going crazy in that white room.
Yeah.
He could go goblin mode. That's for sure.
Definitely some potential
Goblin?
there. Yeah, yeah,
Double
Grey
casting
Goblin. Yeah,
him
yeah.
too.
Who am I getting pregnant? But like,
Or
no,
he'll be Grey Goblin in the Spider the Sony verse.
exactly. You know, well, you know, he's already Spider-Man 2099. Remember, he already has a role.
Oh, yeah, that's
he's
right.
Miguel Harrow.
He's all good.
He has a movie coming in October. But yeah, that honestly, my dream would be for the show to end with him in that mental institution, because then we'd get the 2016 run, and that's just art. But I think that would be a smart way, because even with you don't do my run, like Jeff's run, just the run that I like a lot, I think that if you put him in that home, that's how you explain him missing for a little bit. And if you want him in the
Yeah.
venture, he can just easily break out. Like they can find a way
Oh,
to like
absolutely.
break out. So I think
Very
that'd
easy
be
to
the
write that in.
prime way to end it, maybe.
That would be a really, really interesting end to a Disney Plus series too, because it would be very
Pretty dark.
very dark. You know, like
Yeah.
at the end of WandaVision, she loses her kids and she kind of becomes this villainous character, especially with the end credit scene. But I feel like there is still a lot of hope near the end of that season. You know, you have that dialogue that she had with Vision that was just so heartbreaking and warming at the same time. It's just a very, very touching moment.
Yeah,
I'm
and they
thinking
peddle
of-
some shit too with Monica being like, "They'll never know what you did for them." It's like, fucker, you took
Yeah.
them over for 2 months. Like you didn't do fuck all for
just
them.
going the Tony
you know?
route of just being a hero.
Yeah,
Even when she's
yeah.
not.
You gave
So-
up. You gave up your kids. Yeah, your imaginary kids that didn't exist.
I feel like there was some dark stuff that happened, but at the end of the show, I'm still just like more on the positive hype train. Where I feel like if this ends, he's just in a psych ward or something. It's just like, holy fuck! Like it's one of those movies. I don't even know what I'd pull. Like maybe Shutter Island or something, where it totally like changes your perspective on what you thought you were watching. And I love movies like that, just things that totally twist my brain. And if we get that in a Disney Plus Marvel show, I think that's really, really special.
Now, I feel like maybe we've talked about this, but maybe we haven't. Have you ever watched American Psycho?
Christian Bale?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. Years ago, years upon years ago.
If you think about spoilers, so jump 2 minutes ahead because we don't want to be spoiling this movie. When the whole movie he's killing these people, taking them out, and the last 10 minutes is like he doesn't actually know if he's done it or not. That's like the type of ending you're just sitting there like technically it's a good thing that he didn't maybe kill these people, but you're just like then this guy's just super fucked that he's just like like he really thought all these things happened and he did these like and you're just left to be so unsettled and like you're left in a place that you feel uneasy because he's uneasy because he doesn't know what the fuck's going on in his mind, and that's what I would love from Mark Spector. And again, I hope they do play up that like even though we see this stuff, I want at least one episode or something where they do the classic like maybe this is all in your mind, and they start to lay out everything where he could just be like fucking with himself and just going crazy. I hope they do lean on that a little bit because I always like the versions where you don't know. I think when you're doing a movie or show, you have to pick the version, like you have to pick like, hey, he's a superhero. But I think if you could even one episode of them trying to be like, hey, like no, you've made this all up, like this superhero, this is somebody else, like you were here at this time, like all these facts to be like, you know. So S Bubs, you
Oh, it's the delay.
haven't still seen American Psycho, so you're muting now. You're good to come back. You're good to come back, S Bubs. I can put that in the chat. So, but
yeah, no, absolutely. I think that would be very special to have that in an MCU thing, and it's a very like raw emotion that would draw from the viewers is if they had something like that. Like, do you think this really happened? I don't know. And then it just rolls credits or something like that. So if you
that would
just
be
sat
great
through,
because people
if you
be
just sat
talking about it
through-
for a while too.
Oh, 100%, 100%. But like, I feel like if you have this character Moon Knight, families bringing their kids and stuff to go see this movie, and then it ends that way, like I feel like that's not the easiest thing to sell if you're like a movie producer, you know, for like a general audience MCU thing. But in a TV show, you can introduce those types of topics. You know, everyone can kind of watch it, but you're not pushing it for on the big screen, like selling seats. Maybe just introducing these ideas in the Disney Plus shows, it gets people more exposed to it, and then it gets people ready to actually digest that on a full screen thing. But I think you have more freedom to do crazier things like that in these Disney Plus shows, and I want them to do that. I was getting those feelings in WandaVision, you know, the earlier stuff of the show. I was absolutely digging. I'm one of those people that I actually prefer the earlier things in the season, just because it was so mind bending, so not what I was expecting, and I just. At the end of every episode, it was just so fun to theory craft on exactly what we thought was happening. Obviously, majority of it was wrong. Don't even want to bring up, you know, the man in red, but we brought him a lot. We brought him up a lot, and so did a lot of other people's. And that's what's so fun about these types of shows. So I'm very excited to theory craft after every episode of Moon Knight.
Yeah, I started my rewatch of WandaVision last night. Actually, it's
Nice.
a fun time. So,
I still don't think Shay's seen the whole thing, so we'll have to do a rewatch of that for sure.
It's worth it. It's worth it. Well, speaking of Moon Knight being, you know, big and, you know, scary and whatnot, we're going to talk about Miss Marvel because that's the complete opposite spectrum. So we're going to take a ad break, our second ad break, and then we'll be right back. And we're back. So yeah, this week we just kind of got our first, like not our first look because we've seen little things of it before, but we got our first real trailer for Miss Marvel, just kind of randomly and whatnot. Patzer, what did you think of Miss Marvel? This is well, actually, let's talk about the trailer first because we'll talk about the release date after because it's interesting. But yeah, Miss Marvel, what do you think about this?
Yeah. So, gosh, they played with her name.
Khan.
Yeah. Okay. I was gonna say they played with her name in the trailer. Someone made fun of the way that they said it, and I didn't want to say it there. So thank you for saying. Thanks for saving me there. My first introduction to the character was definitely Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3. Really didn't know much about her and didn't really feel like she was the most appealing character to me. I don't know. It's an interesting idea of someone that's like just a big fan of superheroes. I feel like it fits so many young audience people too, like people that are around that age. I feel like this is gonna be someone that I don't know, they can kind of relate with, right? Like they're seeing this golden age of comic book movies, and then they just, if they're totally engulfed in it, they just want to be that character. So that's pretty much what she's embodying.
Yeah.
A lot of cool ideas, and yeah, the trailer wasn't like a WandaVision or what I've been getting from Moon Knight, but I still think it was a really good trailer, and I think it's a type of show that it's definitely seems like it's targeted towards a younger audience, but that's still awesome. Like I don't think every show has to be something like Moon Knight or WandaVision. And I mean, Loki, pretty much all the shows that we've gotten have tackled on like more adult situations, whether it's like the social injustice stuff that was tackled in Falcon the Winter Soldier, WandaVision, like her just being in complete despair of like losing her family. I guess all ages could possibly deal with that, but for the most part, it's like it just seems like more mature things. Where in this show, I feel like it's gonna be that more like high school issues, at least for like the drama side of it. And I think that's awesome. I think there's a lot of room to have stuff like that and to have a character at that age. I think that's the perfect way to put that in. And honestly, when I was watching this trailer, Shay hasn't seen like all of the I think she's only seen Loki, honestly, at this point. But when I was watching this trailer, I didn't watch it with her, but I'm like, this is just a show for her. Like, I feel like she's just gonna absolutely love this.
Yeah.
She loves those like Netflix shows that came out, whether it was To All the Boys I Loved Before, or just.
Why you guys gotta watch Turning Red already? Watch
I know
it.
we still have
It's
to
like
watch
2
it.
hours.
I know we'll watch it definitely soon, and I'll let you know how that goes.
Great.
I think we're gonna love it, but no, it just seemed like a show for her, and she's someone that didn't love. Or I didn't even really have much interest in like the other Disney Plus shows. So again, that just speaks to spreading out the interest levels. Obviously, the hardcores like us are just going to be watching it no matter what. But I still really like this trailer. It's not a WandaVision hype level or anything like that. Moon Knight, I'm not juicing at the bit, but I think there's some really really cool things showcased in this trailer. And yeah, I think the powers aspects, which I don't even know if that's a controversial thing because it sounded like that they're. Oh, is it? Okay, they like changed their powers quite a bit.
Yes, very controversial.
Very. It's a decision they made.
Okay, so somebody made this example. So let's say a couple years ago, 2017, they're making the MCU Spider-Man, and they go to you, Kirklin Patzer, you see the first trailer, and they go, "Oh no, he actually wasn't bit by a spider. Tony Stark just built him this suit, and it gives him all these powers and everything like that. But he has no spider sense. He has no wall crawling. But the suit has all that, but he doesn't have that. You'd be a little ticked off." I'm very much in the middle of it, but yeah, I think if
I think my counter to that though is like, when was Spider-Man created? Like the fucking 50s, something.
Yeah, 60s, like 60s or something. Yeah.
When was Miss Marvel introduced?
Last 10, 15 years. Yeah.
Like exactly, it's a new character. A lot of people I feel like don't really know her origins. So for a show like this, I don't think that's a big issue. But again, I have very minimal knowledge, so it's tough for me to speak on that. Just my own objective view. It's like, I don't even know what she could really do other than the Ultimate Alliance game. So
she'd primarily stretch like Mr. Fantastic. And
I saw her get big hands in this trailer, so it's like, okay, her powers are there. But when she's starting to walk on the air, I'm like, okay, I don't remember that power. But
so would you be mad if they said the reason it was changed is because they thought it might be too similar to Mr. Fantastic?
I mean, if that means I'm getting Mr. Fantastic, I'll take that.
Well, we are. Remember, there's a movie announced. He's coming, so...
You speak on it. I don't know. Let me gather my thoughts.
So it's tough for me in the 60s to watch this. Yeah, I figured there. So it's tough because, like, admittedly for the character and for this show, I'm probably the wrong person to ask. So the trailer I thought was it was fine for the audience it's needed for. When I saw this, I saw nothing but a Disney Channel original movie from the early 2000s with a better budget. Now, is there something wrong with that? No. Did this get me excited? Absolutely not. Other than the main actress they have seemed very charming in the role. So right there gives me the thumbs up. Like, hey, if she seems good here, she'll be good in the movies. This is one, and we're going to talk about the release date in a second. This is one that I really have, like, if it was not in the MCU, I would be skipping it. This does not look like, other than the showing Captain Marvel, stuff like that, this just looks like some random Disney Channel movie that I would skip, maybe watch with Gwen. But that's the counter to someone that has kids and, multiple girls of a young age. I think this is going to be really fun to watch with them. That's the outlook I'm going to have there, because there's some content that just, even like I said, when I watched Spider-Man 3 with Gwen, that was the best, because Spider-Man 3 to us is this meme crappy movie where they screwed a bunch of stuff up, right? To me, with her, it was, Venom's in this and Sandman and another Goblin. It was great because it's just like this huge thing. Like, what? This isn't? So it's like watching things with kids kind of makes all that stuff better. Like I always thought watching things for the first time in the theater is the best experience. No, watching with your kids, that's something really great. So watching with her is going to be good. I think I like the tongue-in-cheek tone that it has. It's just something that I don't think will be for me, but I don't think it looked bad. I'm not going to be that person like, what are they doing? Like, no, I don't expect the Miss Marvel show to have the tone of what Moon Knight had, in the same way what we're talking about with Miss Marvel, Moon Knight, where it's like, okay, this might be heady, this is a bit darker, it might not be for all families, it's not even too dark, just like, hey, we don't want our kids watching this, it might not be enjoyable. Well, then completely on the other side, you have Miss Marvel that might do the opposite, where the people that really like Moon Knight might be like, fuck Miss Marvel, I'm not going to watch that, and tune out. But then the people that weren't watching Moon Knight come back for that, right? Much like the comic books. I don't, like, obviously right now I don't read as much comic books because I'm busy, but back in the day when there's so many adaptations, so many characters and so many writers and artists, you pick what you like. You try some out for a little bit. If it's not that good, okay, you move on. Or if it's not for you, move on. That's the best. That's where it's like, this show's not for me, but I do want this state where you have something kind of for everybody in a comic book world, and that's what it looks like Miss Marvel's for. Her powers, absolutely. I'm mixed on, because this is where, I'm not a big fan of the character, in the sense of I don't dislike the character. I liked her a lot in the Avengers game, and I've read her primarily when she's in I think it was 2018, 19, when they did like the all new Marvel, and they had the roster. It was like her, Jane Foster's Thor, Sam as Falcon, Sam as Captain America, Miles was in there, Tony was in the Avengers, but they had this new lineup for Avengers, and I really liked her there. So I've always liked the character. So the powers, it's an odd thing, because she is just like purple Green Lantern. That's just what she is, and it's not tied to her original origin. So for me, it's like I don't care as much, but I do get the point. If somebody's favorite character was Miss Marvel, and you've been reading from the beginning, you could not wait for this moment, and you see all these changes, I could see some reservations, or maybe some kind of being upset, because that happens all the time with stuff. So I'm mixed. I'm gonna see how they do it. I think it's just not my fight. I just don't have a leg in this, because I understand
no
both.
Skin in the game.
Yeah, I understand both sides, because I'd understand that was my character, but at the same time, MCU isn't the comic book, so they got to change some stuff. The same way as like, it's a minor thing, but when the first time I saw the Moon Knight trailer and Stephen Grant wasn't a billionaire philanthropist, I was like, what the fuck? Like, this is not what I've read. Like, his whole time since Moon Knight's creation, Stephen Grant's been a billionaire. Like, why is he just this museum geek? But it's like, okay, we're doing this, we'll change it up. Let's see what happens. I think judge it after, but I think it's interesting. I would like to hear why they made those choices, other than, and one of the rumors too is like, oh, well, they think stretching is hard to do and it looks cheesy. It's just like, well, I know what the fuck you're going to do when it comes to Reed Richards then, because he stretches. And, I don't disagree with that stretching is kind of a fucking lame power. Like, so I like Reed Richards as, like, the scientist and the character, but, like, he can stretch. He can, like, it's fuck, like, that's, I don't know, that's lame. Like, I don't want to be that superhero. What kid wants to be that superhero? I think it worked fine with Miss Marvel because she's a kid, but... And they do all that stuff good, as far as, like, her idolizing the character of Captain Marvel and stuff like that, so...
Yeah, so...
Yeah. But yeah,
I agree with what you brought up with just like the power switching. So yeah, brought up a good point that I wasn't really thinking of. Someone that was dear to my heart, and then see them just being kind of rewritten in a aspect. And maybe if you really liked her origin story and really liked just the explanation for her powers, I think that would definitely tech limbs. I think that would really yeah, I can understand why people would be upset, but as you mentioned, it's not my fight. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
yeah.
watch the show and go into it positive, and I hope I really like it because I thought the trailer was very charming, very very fun, and yeah, not exactly like my mature content I'm looking for, but I think it's gonna scratch an MCU itch.
Yeah, and what's interesting, so the other thing is it was confirmed the date. I can't remember now. Let me just pull up a count here. It's June
June 8th.
something. June 8th. Whoa, Kirklin Bats or Quick Draw
Oh
McGraw.
yeah.
So June 8th. So the thing that is crazy about this, history making, is it's going to be the first ever time that a MCU and Star Wars show are overlapping for the live action shows. Never happened, as we talked about with Hawkeye. They did the two to make sure it didn't connect with blah, 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 blah. And I'm very curious of why this is happening because there's a few things I think. One, I think with it being in June, I was like, well, you don't got the Marvels till February. You know, like why? I do think Black Panther, the same way we just said Shazam and whatever Aquaman switch places, I think the Marvels and Black Panther are probably going to switch place. I think Black Panther's going to get kicked to next year. So to me, one with it out being in June, I think they want to give enough time for people to see Kamala Khan and fall in love with her. So when she's in the movie, which has been confirmed. So you got that. Two, I don't know why I don't know why you don't put one show on a Wednesday and one show on a Friday. I really don't understand that idea of
Yeah.
putting them both on the same day. It's weird. I don't like you have a service spread out because I do think, and maybe this is my third point, that I think MCU, Foggy, the whole team, they look at a project and they want to give it the best possibility and they look at it and go, oh, this is great, new MCU stuff. But to put a show on of a new character that's more primarily geared to, I'd say, a younger audience during Obi-Wan, I think you pull a lot of casual people away from that show. So I think they kind of looked at this show and once they saw it together, and that, not saying they were disappointed with it, but they went, you know what? I don't like the way when WandaVision or Loki would have a big episode ending, be like, fuck, I can't wait for next week. Or you knew, like Kingpin, Hawkeye, right? You knew that's going to be trending. The second you log on Twitter, it's going to be over. I don't think Miss Marvel's going to have any of those moments. It might have one with Captain Marvel appearing, but other than that, I think they kind of know, hey, this isn't going to be the show that's going to get people talking. So I think that's why they put it with Obi-Wan, because they're not really expecting it to really pop off ratings-wise. But maybe their hope is people will check out Obi-Wan and at the same time, oh, a new Miss Marvel. So what do you think about the date of it being, it's in the third week Obi-Wan, so the finale will happen with Obi-Wan, and then Miss Marvel will have 6 episodes left. But what do you think about it coming at the same time as Obi-Wan week 3?
Yeah, it's very interesting. Because part of me is like, well, it's not like the main. What's the best way to say it? It's not like it's two shows that they have the exact same feeling.
Yeah.
If you dropped like a heavy drama show and another heavy drama show, like I feel like Obi-Wan is accessible to everyone, but as you mentioned, this feels more geared like your Disney channel TV movies or something like that's definitely the vibes I'm getting from it. Now there's obviously crossover there. I 100% agree with you. I don't understand the reasoning on why they can't just do 2 different days like Wednesday and Friday. I don't even think logistically like it makes sense why they wouldn't be able to do that. It's
Yeah.
their product. They can drop it whenever the hell they want. Bizarre, but nonetheless.
It's getting warm in here,
Um,
Kirkland.
Ooh,
Good thing
look
I
at
got the
that.
tank top
Showing off the
on.
tongue, the tongues.
The tongue. You like that, the viewers?
Oh, I know I
Oh,
do.
that's just
Showing
for
off
one
the guns.
person.
Yeah. You could hear it. It was like an ASMR of the tongue.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, no, it's a weird decision. I don't think it's like gonna be gutting one of the other shows or anything like that. I think more interest is in Obi-Wan, but I don't think it's I don't know. I don't think it's gonna impede one or the other. And it's again, it's not like it's a movie and a movie dropping where it'll actually draw a lot of people of like purchasing this ticket. They already have the ticket if they have Disney Plus, so there's no reason why they can't watch both. It's just like right at launch, who are they gonna watch? I don't know.
Well, we know what that is because I think even the audience for Miss Marvel, they may watch it, but they're not going to be like, we got to fucking stay up till midnight, like gather around family. It's going to be like, oh,
Yeah.
we'll watch it on the weekend or something like that. Like,
Yeah.
or Obi-Wan's going to have those, I got to watch it right now to see what's happening.
Yeah. So overall, I don't think it's really gonna do much to like take away from the overall numbers of who's watching what because the fact that it's both on Disney Plus. Like if you have Disney Plus, you can watch both. I think if you have interest in both of these shows, you're not going to just be like, well, I'm going to just focus for Obi-Wan for the next however many weeks this show's coming out, and then I'll jump to Miss Marvel. You know, like, how many days do you have to wait until Obi-Wan? Okay, well, we'll just watch Miss Marvel the next day. I guess the day one numbers will be affected in that regard, but I don't know how much that matters.
I'm
on
very
a show like
interested
this.
for both of them. I'm interested because I know everyone's saying
Miss Marvel just blows Obi-Wan out of the water.
Fuck, that'd be great. Because no, I think fuck, I would love to see the reaction to that, but no, and then Feige's
Taylor would be
unstoppable. Yeah, no, because I know everyone and their mother right now after that trailer is like, Obi-Wan's gonna beat Loki. I still don't believe it. I still don't think Obi-Wan's gonna do it
either.
You said that last time when we watched the trailer. You turned your back. You go back and forth every week.
I know. I'm a flip flopper.
We're gonna have to do with official predictions.
I'm like Mark Spector, man. One day I'm Mr. Knight. The other day I'm not.
But yeah, I'm excited to see what the numbers are for One, I'm very excited to see what the numbers are for Miss Marvel 2, that premiere week. So yeah, let's take another ad break here, and then we'll keep going with our trailers because we have other Marvel news to talk about. We got Madem website, but let's just talk about the trailers that we have here, and then we'll jump back to the regular news. So we'll be right back. And we're back. So let's talk about I'll talk about Halo first because Kirk will put some sort of food in his mouth and I'll have some to say on Halo.
Fresh cinnamon bun. I don't eat on cast. I'm not Taylor, but it just was hot and smelling good, and I had to at least give it one bite.
That's
for
fine.
the cook.
It all happens to ourselves. Fucking Taylor is just a madman. He'll just always eat on the cast.
And he brings the plate up. And
he's like, no one's gonna notice, and he's like,
barely even. Yeah, doesn't even mute his mic most of the time.
Yeah, you can't even see his face. Like, so Halo. I guess I'm starting with this one because I don't have too much to add because I feel the exact same way about it as I did the first trailer. Now the good thing is I think reviews have come out. And I think they're generally positive. I'll have to look and see if there's a Rotten Tomato score, but I think most reviews I've seen have looked like it's not like the best show ever, but it seems like they're good. I think that for me, it's a combination of I still don't know and this is the best example, as a non-Halo player, what the story is. I think I might be on the debut review episode with you guys because I just want to check it out, but I still don't know what the story is exactly. I feel like my worry is there's a lot of the other people around and talking, and I don't know how much you have that in Halo because it's from his point of view and you're on an adventure, right? In these trailers, there's just a lot of other people like politicking and talking about the future. Now, that could just be sent up the show, but if the ratio with like these trailers are for Master Chief versus the people, to me that's not going to be that interesting because it's just all very generic stuff. And again, the trailers go back and forth between looking very beautiful to grand and epic to sometimes looking like a fucking just sci-fi channel movie, you know? So
yeah,
I'm very like that last shot at the end of the trailer when they jump out of the plane or whatever, that looked great. That looked like yeah.
Absolutely.
But at one moment, there's like a guy with it's just a face shot on him, and there's like a desert behind him. Like, this does not look real at all. So I'm kind of the same way I am. I'm very intrigued by this series. Kirklin Pat's GeekVerse podcast.
Would you say you're about 60% interested? Because that's what it's got on Rotten Tomatoes.
So it's right. So one more negative
20
review.
critics. Only 20 critics. I don't know how many it needs to be certified or something.
Quite a bit more.
Yeah.
And it's only one negative review away from being rotten, so I guess it's not that. I guess the reviews are better than I thought because I was expecting something like low 30 to 40s. So this is better.
It's better than Eternals.
yeah, it's better than Eternals. But yeah, so that you know what, a 60%. And again, for people that tomatoes, I gave again, it's not. That's not what 60% means. It means out of 20 people that reviewed it, 60% of those people would give it a pass. That seems about right. Like from what I'm gathering from these trailers, I think it's going to vary between person to person how much you like the show. But yeah, I suppose imagine if it's like the MonsterVerse movies, like boring humans all the time, Master Chief for like 5 minutes. And that's what this last trailer though was. This last trailer had very little Master Chief. I don't think the show will be like that. But I was like, man, like, how much are these humans people in them? Like I don't know. So, but that's also the problem. You have a protagonist that has a helmet on the whole time, even though it's been confirmed it's going to come off. So, feeling lukewarm but intrigued about the series. What about you as far as this newest trailer?
Yeah, I'll echo what you said. I feel like I'm pretty much the same after that first trailer. I think Master Chief looks really good. And yeah, like there was certain shots that definitely had those sci-fi spin elements of it, where it just looked a little bit lower budget quality. But I don't know. I think the Halo aspect of it is really the stuff that I love, and
Mhm.
it's the same thing on what I really loved about Sonic, bringing in Sonic the Hedgehog review, but like I loved the Sonic aspect of it. Like the human stuff, I could care fucking like two shits about that stuff. But like when they actually showed the echidnas and like the Sonic world, and like all of that element with the CGI stuff, I thought all of that was so fun. I wanted a whole movie about that. We're gonna talk about Sonic to come. I think. Are we?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
I didn't watch that trailer for nothing.
So yeah, I'm excited to talk about some positive things I saw from that trailer. But nonetheless, we're talking about Halo right now. So I think all the CGI stuff and the Halo stuff, whether it's the alien creatures, the Covenant, the energy swords, all of that looks really awesome. And I think that's really what is gonna sell me on the show. And if that makes it the whole season 60% enjoyment, that's over 50. So I'll be getting my time's worth, I guess.
Mhm.
And yeah, I think my expectations though are like at that middle bar. Like I'm not expecting for anything amazing, but I'm still expecting to something better than Boba. Where there's moments of Boba where I was just really, really not enjoying. I apologize to any listeners if you really love Boba, but there's just a lot of stuff I really didn't care about, and I hope. I know there's gonna be parts of the show that I just really don't care about, but I hope majority of it is still interesting enough to really keep me engaged, especially if there's a long episode on a flashback explaining why this human hates this human and their motivation, and it just
tanks.
doesn't feel like Halo. Like that's my worry there, but I'm trying to be open-minded and go into it optimistically because I'm not a big Halo guy, but I still think it's one of the greatest like video game lore worlds to be introduced. Like it's just so iconic, and the fact that they played that like like that, yeah, I don't know, the choir like uplifting sound, like that like gives me like chills, honestly. Like that theme song is one of the most epic things ever, and just seeing the Halo font, fantastic. So I really hope it delivers. Really, really hope it delivers.
Also, you apologize to the people that love Boba. There's no one that loves Boba Fett. If they love
Mostly
Boba
Taylor
Fett,
Field. I know he's listening.
they're
to this,
lying
so
themselves.
shouts
But
at
not
you,
even
Taylor.
him. He's been like, oh, I don't know about that finale. People are lying themselves. So they say they love Boba Fett. Watch says I'm a big Halo fan. Trailers make me a little concerned about them adapting correctly, even though it's in a different timeline. I would throw the adapting correctly out of the window, Watcher. I mean that all due respect. I've just been saying that to Taylor. I just feel like, much like books to movies or TV shows, I feel like they're going to do that a lot with this show. I think you're going to take a lot of leaps, but just hope that they do it good and just tell yourselves the good thing is those games still exist. And you know what, if Obi-Wan sucks for me, I'm gonna start telling myself about this new Star Wars stuff that's all just what if, and I'm just gonna put my thoughts back down to the the 9 movies and stuff like that. So I would say they'll prepare yourself for a lot of changes in canon and stuff like that, just because they got adapted somehow and they like doing that shit. So speaking of something that really is going balls to the wall as far as like they don't really care if they have to adapt things because they're just making a crazy ass movie, is Sonic 2. That's coming out in a few weeks. Says tickets on sale. Not on sale for us, but yeah, that is just like a month. It's less than a month away now, Sonic 2. So we'll be reviewing that.
Absolutely.
Again, I'm optimistically excited for this. As I said, the first trailer, it got me. I don't know what it was, just something about it. I did like this trailer less because it reminded me of what I'm gonna feel like when I'm watching the movie, because there's just a lot of humor of like, man, I don't find this funny at all. But I think, again, I'm going with my kids, so I'll enjoy it. But what I like the most about this is they're really leaning hard into Easter eggs, references, music, stuff like that.
Definitely.
I hope this is in the movie. It's always annoys me like when the Spider-Man like has that cool operatic theme for the classics theme of Spider-Man, and it's never in the actual movie. That like dun 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 dun, but it's never actually there. It's like, oh, why don't you use this theme here? But yeah, like Jim Carrey's the same as always. Looks like he's chewing the scenery. I think there's a lot of these side human characters that I will eye roll in the middle of the theater, but I'm not expecting much because it's Sonic. So some little good jokes there. Knuckles looks good. I'm a big fan of Knuckles. I like that Tails is just like there, like he was in the end credit of last movie, and it's just, I thought there'd be like them meeting, explaining it, but it just seems like they're just like, no, Tails is with him now. Like, okay, cool. Like, and not
You
that it
just
matters.
assume that everybody knows that that's a sidekick because everybody knows that that's a sidekick.
Yeah. So, like I said, I didn't like this one as much as the first trailer, but I am excited to. I'm excited to experience it, and I think it'll be a fun review nonetheless.
Yeah, man, 100%. I think I like this trailer more honestly than the last one, and I was very positive on the last one. So what I was kind of hinting at in the Halo breakdown of like the CGI stuff and the Halo universe things, whether it's like the Covenant aliens, like that's the stuff that I loved. Human stuff, not so much, and that's really what I loved about Sonic the first time around. Um, yeah, still want the spirit here. So Travos.
Okay, I was responding to someone in the chat because we moved on from Halo. But first of all, Kirkland called attention, and then second of all, I had to call
Got
attention
it.
to myself because I fucking spelled my name wrong instead of Travis, Travos.
That's our
Fucking
intern
Thanos in
behind the
here,
scenes typing that message in.
yeah, Travos, we love him.
um, but yeah, no. So with Sonic, I really, really love the Sonic stuff, and like the very beginning of that movie, they're actually in like the Sonic world before Sonic gets taken from his world into the human world, and then I was kind of bummed that we just didn't get any of that. Pretty much for the whole movie, like we just had Sonic. That was like the one like CGI character in the show.
Yeah.
But and then Tails was hinted at, or he wasn't even hinted at. He was shown in the end credit scene. So it was awesome to be like, okay, we're getting more of those. And then the first trailer, we had Knuckles, very iconic character. Okay,
Yes.
I'm getting more of that. And then in this, we actually have like Sonic and Tails in their own world, like in the Sonic world, interacting with like other Sonic-y type things. And I really hope we get a lot more of that. I mean, we got more of their world stuff in this trailer than we did in the entire movie last time around.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty positive going into it because I just know I'm getting more of that stuff, and that's really, really what I loved about it. I hope eventually we get to the point where the whole movie is just in their world, their multiverse, whatever you want to call it, because I think that's so fun. You don't have to have an actor, dialoguing with this tennis ball or whatever the hell he's looking at, and I'm not watching these movies for the acting. I'm watching
No.
it for the CGI and the Easter eggy stuff that you're talking about. Like whether it was him jumping out and then grabbing that board, which is so iconic if you play like some of like the later 3D Sonic games of him just grabbing a snowboard and like falling from the sky, and then he just starts like riding a board through the city or something. It makes no sense, but it's Sonic, and that's what I loved about it. So yeah, at that point, it's just an animated movie, and that's what I want, S-Bubs. Like, why can't we just get that with the CGI?
'Cause
He
they
looks
feel
really
like
good now.
They need some sort of hybrid or something like that. So
Yeah, okay. I hope
I
we're-
agree with you, but
I hope we're nudging away from that. I guess you need Jim Carrey as Robotnik, so there you go. He'll be the one
yeah,
sanity
he can be the
non-CGI
lone
character.
It'll just be like that sad. Have you ever seen the? Oh, you haven't seen The Hobbit. There's just this behind the scenes, very sad video of Ian McKellen, and this is
Oh,
when
you've
they
told me
when-
this many times. We
Yeah,
said
when
a
they-
breakdown.
Yeah, when they went overboard with the CGI and whatnot. So he was doing the scene with all the dwarves, and they weren't there. So he's acting with these tennis balls, and he's just like, "I can't do this, Peter." And he literally
Yeah.
and it's just like that's gonna be Jim Carrey at that age. He's gonna freak out because there's these guys running around dressed as little Sonic, and yeah.
That's how his coworkers feel dealing with Jim Carrey probably on set. Can't do this, George.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, like I'm honestly pretty positive on it. I was pretty positive coming out of that first one, and I still had a lot of issues with it. But I'm a huge Sonic fan. I absolutely love it. It's probably one of my first video games I ever played on the Sega. I used to just I would have blue hair gel run around my house, just be Sonic, gotta go fast. I fucking love
That's why
Sonic.
his parents are divorced.
They're not divorced. Okay, they're happily married. Don't pull that shit on me, Ricky Bobby.
That's what they tell Kirkland. Oh, here comes that Sonic. Fuck.
Hey, they're probably listening to this. They're gonna be judging you now. They're gonna be probably in the chat here. My dad is actually S-Bubs, if you didn't know this whole time.
Oh wow. Well, follow me
Not
at
actually true.
Travo Speed Snail.
Um,
I would have questions of your dad was a prime scooper. I was like, how's your dad have time?
he's unemployed. Clicking his
Yeah.
Serb still.
Well, your son cheated in the
you're
fucking
killing,
gauntlet.
you're killing my train of thought here. I'm trying to get my last thoughts out.
Yeah, just like your parents when you ran by the fucking blue fucking lightning, and they're just like, I'm just trying to live a life, and my son is popping off here.
Christ, you're the worst. You're the worst.
I'm the best.
You have Robotnik looking like he's got like the Reality Stone at some point when he's got like the Chaos Emerald, just like tossing trains and stuff around.
Yeah.
That's gonna be wild to see just the full extent of what that power is. But overall, very, very excited for this movie.
Reality is often disappointing. But yeah, so that is all the trailers. So let's go back into the Marvel world and let's talk about, I'm going to talk about this one first because technically, technically Deadpool 3 is the bigger news, but I got to start with Cass. I got to start with Sydney Sweeney. I got to start with some Euphoria. So it was announced today that she is casted alongside Dakota Johnson in the Madem Web movie, and it seems like this is going along pretty fast because she's got casted, they got the script writers, they got a director, all this stuff. So I'm not sure when it's shooting, but I think the rumor was sometime this year. It's very interesting because I think she's one. I will say that I am pretty pissed off because she was a dead set person for me to draft in superhero draft. Now I'm sure Kirklin may have had her as well.
Oh,
but
yeah. 100%.
Yeah, because I just think Hollywood is just going to eat up all those Euphoria cast members. Be like, put them in this, put them in this. But I thought she was primo number one. Now, to just lay out the obvious, do I wish it was in the MCU? Yes, because I just trust them a lot more to give her a good role. We don't know what she's playing, and the thing with her is, so if you don't watch and go check, if you do watch our Euphoria review we did last month or so or something like that, right before the Batman, but me and Kirklin love that show. We have lots of high praise. And the thing is, so she was always good in the show. She was very good in season 1, but season 2 is when she became a beast. Season 2 is when it's like, man, this girl can fucking really act, and she's going to be like a powerhouse. She's like, I agreed with all the memes, like, oh, I need to see her in like a Hereditary type movie now. Like, she has so much range of emotion. That's why with this casting, it could be a character we know, it could be a sister, it could be like a partner, it could be a villain. That's a good thing with her. That's not like, oh, you can put her in a box and this is what you think. And she's talked about this before because she's a very good looking girl, that she was on Euphoria and then she went to go do the White Lotus show, and then all these people would come up to her, I imagine agents would, and I'm like, oh, you're such a good actress, blah blah. And she's like, I've been on Euphoria for like the past fucking year and no one said shit about me. Now I think it's probably different after this season because this season she just had so many highlight moments, but she's not that, I'd say, classic 2000s Megan Fox where she's like, oh, we want to get a hot broad in a role here. No, Sydney Sweeney is
Michael Bay movie.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, she's gonna be something really special. A lot of that Euphoria cast is, but she has that IET or the IET factor, the IT factor, just that it factor. She's great, so that's why I think she could be doing anything. So for theory crafting, Kirkland has a pick. I have a pick. I'm for them both. The internet's very divided on them both too. My pick is Gwen Stacy. Now here's my 3 scenarios I'm gonna throw out for you. The reason. So for Gwen Stacy, if Emma Stone and Gwen Stacy, Spider-Gwen, if there's something in the works there, that's off the table. She's not Gwen Stacy. If they went to Emma Stone and said, hey, would you be interested, and she passed, then I could see them doing that sort of character. 2, you could have Black Cat. It's a new character, and I think this makes a lot more sense because it's in the Madem Web movie. I'm sure they're friends. I'm sure they'd be fine. But I imagine it might be like maybe a tad bit awkward. Like, hey, we're doing Spider-Man 4, and we're casting Black Cat, and we're going to have, hey, Zendaya, Sydney, right? She's going to be pounding around. She's going to have these really big central scenes with Tom. Some people completely fine with that, right? But maybe not. Let's not roll that dice, right? That's where it might be like, she could be a Black Cat in a different universe where she's a character. My third theory is I actually unfortunately think, and I think she's perfect for both those, because that's a good thing with Cassie, is that character, I think season 1, she's much more like a Gwen Stacy type, where season 2, you could see her as a Felicia Hardy type. Like, that's how the range she has. But I think, unfortunately, most of the time when we get these big casting, if they are tied to a character, because this is from Justin Kroll, who's like A tier, in the Scoopers, I think they would have known the character. Just if the character is unknown, they would have known the character, in my opinion. If it was a Black Cat or a Spider-Gwen, something that high profile, they would have. I could be wrong. It's probably definitely happened before where someone gets cast and, we don't know who it is. But you look at something like, it was like last year when the guy, like Jonathan Majors, got cast as Kang. It's like he's cast in Ant-Man 3 and it's as Kang. Just a rumor, but that's what we're hearing. And that's usually what we get. It's like, it's a rumor, but we're hearing this. This is just an unknown role. It's funny. I had this theory because there is 2 Madam Webs that Dakota Johnson was going to be the young one and they'd still cast an old one. I would laugh if Dakota Johnson is like the old Madam Web and this is like the younger one. I don't think it's that, but there are multiple Madam Webs, so you could do that. And easily you could someone tell me like, oh, she's playing the villain in the movie. It's like I could believe that too because she can tap that in. So all I'm hoping for is whatever it is that Sony does not does not just like the movie's good and she's not a waste of like in Venom 2. Hopefully Morbius is not a waste either, but I really hope for her that this turns out well, and I want to be one of those characters, but if not, I'm down to see. I hope Sony would be smart enough, or maybe I would prefer this, that if it's a one and done character, she can do this and then go somewhere else. But I think she's an actress that you want to lock down for multiple stuff. So, and I suppose says I think she's too young for Black Cat, to be honest. That depends on the adaptation, though, right? What if it's just like Black Cat without Spider-Man? You could just do, oh, this is Felicia Hardy, this is her rough upbringing. I don't think she fits in a Madam Web movie. Spider-Gwen, to me, does, because you could have her jumping multiverses, stuff like that. Spider-Gwen in itself is a multiverse type of character. I don't know why Black Cat would be in this. So if you were to ask me, gun ahead, my theory is that she's playing neither of those characters. Maybe another combo character, but I don't think she's playing Gwen Stacy or Black Cat. Kirklin Patzer, your thoughts on Sydney Sweeney being in Madam Web?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's unfortunate I don't get her as my superhero draft. I think that would have been a race between you and me. I don't think Taylor would have had that on his list, but
who?
Yeah, I absolutely
my Loch Ness Monster girl.
She's trying to get Kate Beckinsale or something on his list for however many years in a row. But
and watch her, yeah, and same thing, yeah. Felicia's older than Peter, yeah, but again, we're seeing Venom without Spider-Man, right? Like, there's a chance you could see a Black Cat movie without a Peter Parker. So that's why I don't think if that's the case, sure, we could. But even then, honestly, if the MCU does a Black Cat, I'm sorry, I don't think they're going to do that. I don't think they're going to be like, okay, Tom Holland's this age, we're going to go get an actress that's 10 to 15 years older. Disney ain't doing that. Sony ain't doing that. They would have them closer together. I don't think they would do, because it's just a different time. And anytime act like, look at Florence Pugh, who's on record so many times been like, of course she chooses. So many people gave her shit about dating Zach Braff because he's like 15, almost 20 years younger, but older than her. But she's like, I don't care. I love the guy. I'm very happy with him. It's our lives. Stay the fuck out of it. Like, mind your own business. But that doesn't matter. Anytime there's an age gap, I'd say that's like 7+ years. It's like, oh, why are you with this older person? So I don't think they would ever do Felicia being older woman with Peter. I really don't. Not in the film. I don't.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I feel like it's a weird thing for the MCU, and I mean I don't think you should be too dead set on like she has to be older. I mean, we were just talking about how they're completely changing Miss Marvel's like powers, right? So
yeah,
like,
yeah,
exactly.
Change
things, and the age is a very easy thing to change, let alone like what they've already done on screen. Definitely agree with what you said, Travis. Though I don't think that's happening. It's a pretty spicy dynamic between her and Spider-Man.
And I don't even know if the spicy dynamic would happen. Like, the dynamic, because people don't want to say this, but like, they just fucking ripped off Batman and Catwoman. That's what Black Cat and Spider-Man is, right? It's that similar dynamic. There's a few things different, but that, like, what they had in, even though I love the Batman, minor spoilers, the scene of Batman watching Selena through the binoculars while she's half naked, one, I still think they should have cut it. I still think they should have cut it. But two, there's no fucking way they're doing anything like that. Like the sensuality they had in that movie, which Spider-Man and Tom Holland,
just like 18-year-old Peter Parker, just watching this like
breaking the new suit,
just
but
stretching. Yeah.
But no, I just even mean like the flirtatiousness they have. The MCU, they are a lot of things, but they're not. It's not a really sexual place. Like, that's been the best thing about the Disney Plus shows, as Loki, WandaVision. You finally got a little bit of that, but there's not much. Like, okay, you got that in Eternals in this very fucking G-rated Icarus scene, but lovemaking is very light in the MCU.
And like the version of Spider-Man that we have, I mean, we have 3 Spider-Man now in the MCU, but like with Tom Holland's Peter Parker, like that romance that was showcased like with that, like that's very like awkward high school, middle school type era of like romance, right? And then you're trying to take this character and then have him with Black Cat, you know, far into the spectrum here for my example, but like almost like it could be like a dominatrix meeting this,
and that's
like
what it's
young,
supposed to be like.
Yeah. So like meeting this just like young, he's of age, but still young, unexperienced Peter Parker, which which would be hilarious to see. But
I would love
don't
it because
think
like
that would
if you
for
were
it.
to actually pitch it, I think it would work fantastic as far as that's because he's so awkward and doesn't know what to do. But I just don't think they would do that. You know that's the thing. It's like unless
feel-
Sony were to separate from Marvel and they were by themselves again, I would love to see the bumbling Tom Holland like what does he do with this Sydney?
Especially if I'm picturing Sydney Sweeney, like I feel like she could play that. I mean, we've seen what she can do as an actress. She's absolutely phenomenal, but just playing as like almost a seductor to
Yes.
to like a Peter Parker who's already so awkward, that could be just gold to watch, right? I a little upset we won't see that, but yeah, it's the MCU. It's such an established thing, especially now it's Disney. Like it's such a big thing. It's tough to pitch that, but anyways, what was your question?
Just so
for
what do you
me?
think about her being in
Yeah.
Madem? Because we were talking about who she was, but yeah, do you
Right,
think she
yeah.
could be anybody? Obviously, you're probably excited for her being in the movie. I think that's a
I'm
guarantee.
absolutely I'm overjoyed. I was really pumped to have Dakota Johnson in there, and then I mean I feel like I haven't even really seen Dakota Johnson in much. I'm just like she's a great actress. I haven't seen 50 Shades.
Don't worry.
Can you list anything else that she's in?
I think she's getting better. I think there's Peanut Butter Falcon. There's Bad Times
Oh,
at the
yeah.
El Royale.
Bad Times at the El Royale. 100%. She
Yeah.
was great in that.
She's improving each year. Yeah.
Yeah, so I wasn't even on the episode when she was originally casted. You and Taylor were on that one because I listened to it, and I really like the casting. You know, it's not the old Madam Web. It's funny now looking back, like, oh, maybe she's gonna be the young one. We're gonna get the old one, and then
They up age her.
are we gonna
She's,
get a
like, playing
third one?
They up age her. She's like playing like the 80-year-old, like with CGI.
Oh no!
Why did I
Like
sign
your
on this
agent.
role?
Yeah.
Yeah. You said you wanted to be in a Marvel movie, Dakota.
Yeah, it's one of those things too of like picturing Sydney Sweeney, you know, being who could she be? You know, me as just like a super fanboy of like the Julia Carpenter, Arachne, Spider Woman era. I mean, I think she was the second Madam Web too. Eventually,
Well, that's why some people think that's who Dakota Johnson could be playing. So that's where it's tough,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's very true because I think, I mean, the image that I shared, she's like basically like the Cassie blonde,
Yeah.
like, you know, with like the Venom type suit, but also as the Madam Web, she has more like a reddish hair, which could very easily see Dakota Johnson going that route. And if she's that character, I don't exactly know who. I keep wanting to say Cassie, Sydney, who she would be playing as. Because I really don't know. I feel like, you know, my heart wants her to just portray that, you know, me just fall in love with the character of what Arachne was. Like have Sydney Sweeney in that role just gets
Yeah.
my juices going. But I don't know. I feel like it's too much of a niche unknown character. But this is also Sony, right? Like
It's also Madam Web. That's another.
also Madam Web.
It's
Yeah,
a niche unknown
yeah.
character.
Yeah, that's right. It's Madam Web and it's Sony.
Yeah.
So I really don't know who she could go.
She could easily just be
because-
like this, like in Malignant. Now the main character had a sister that was helping her along the plot. She could literally just be a sister, like that. And that's
100%
what I'm
could.
preparing myself
I-
for.
I think my only push against that is that, okay, we only have like 2 castings as of this point. Is Dakota Johnson, and then co-starring alongside of her is
Yeah.
Sydney Sweeney. Like, okay, we're gonna have these 2 integral characters, and I think that's my only reason why I wouldn't, or hopefully she's not gonna just be this sister that we do not remember. But and then yeah, like what I was speculating on, like who she could be. Sydney Sweeney is just such a phenomenal actress that she could literally do anything, and just run with it and be phenomenal. So I think no matter what happens, she's gonna kill it, even if she is a minor role, which I hope isn't the case. Because yeah, like we were saying in our Euphoria review, like I want to see her in these main roles. I want to see her carrying a Midsommar type movie, like I saw
Oh, yeah.
Florence Pugh did, and that's really, I feel like that was the movie that really just made me fall in love with Florence Pugh.
Well, and the rumors was in this report that she passed up quite a few projects. There was a rumored project that she was up for, actually, along with the actress that plays Maddie for the Madonna biopic. But the rumors she might have, in order to get this passed for that. So hopefully it's worth her while.
I hope so. And she wouldn't just be accepting the role if she doesn't know who the fuck she's playing. So I'm optimistic that it's a big role and hopefully a very likable role. And I hope Julia Carpenter is in this one way, shape, or form, because it's been a character that, like, I really liked her when I found out about her, but I still didn't even know much at the time. Like I had to do a lot of my own research and then read. I think it was like the Secret Wars was the first comic
Mm-hmm.
that she was in that I had read. So like if I ask 50 people, I feel like majority of them would have no idea who the fuck this
Oh
is.
yeah,
Maybe seen the image and then could put two and two. Like, well, she's
Girl
a female,
Venom.
so yeah,
That's not the symbiote. It's just a black suit.
exactly. But it's if she gets brought up here, even if that is Sony, it would still be cool for me to just see her in live action and in a movie. So I think that's a mini victory.
And absolutely, I suppose, but it could be like Will Smith passing for the Matrix Wild West. Absolutely. To me, if you were to sit me down and you say, okay, she has this Madonna role, which, we don't know how good that is, bad that is, yeah. Let's say she has that, right? But like, oh, you could be in a Marvel film. And if she were to say, oh, I'm going to the MCU, I'd be like, okay, I get your choice there. She says, hey, I'm going to the Sony universe. That's when like,
Going to a Marvel movie. That's how their agent like portrays it.
Well,
Goes
yeah.
to the Sonyverse.
Yeah,
Oh, are
like
you
do these
kidding me?
do these actors and actresses know different? It's like when Tyrese, when he was doing Morbius press, he's like, "Yeah, we're in the MCU," and they were like, "No, we're not in the MCU." Like, do they know the difference? And like, I hope Zendaya like shot her a text, like, "Girl, like, you're not technically, but technically Zendaya's in like the Sony movies too, right? They're just the
That's right.
partnered ones, but um." I think if she were to pass through that for the MCU, I'd completely understand. The Sonyverse, that's definitely a bit more like iffy because that Madonna movie could come out, kill, and that actress could win an Oscar. And be like, man, Sydney, that could have been you, right? So, but that's the gamble of it, right? Like, look at what S. is talking about, where Will Smith he passed on Matrix for Wild Wild West, and Wild Wild West was a big bomb, and Matrix got 4 sequels and became one of the biggest films of all time. But at the same time, he passed also because he's readily admittedly he just didn't get it. He didn't understand Matrix. So we could have maybe not even got a great performance from him because if he wasn't that interested in the role. Not that I would have phoned in, but it just wouldn't maybe connected. So, any character from the Watcher, any character Sony introduces will be niche to the audience because they're breaking new ground with characters people don't know, like Craven, Morbius, Madem Web, etc., etc. And I agree with you. I feel like they're going down a list where you got Venom, and then you got, that to me, Venom is the one variety of like, hey, this guy's known, but then you got like. Okay, Morbius, he's a lot less known. Then you got Craven, like, oh, he's a lot less known. And then Madem Web's like, she's very unknown. Like, it's all up to like, do they ever start doing Electro or Green Goblin and stuff? But yeah, we got Wild West.
Wild West.
Wild West theme song is fucking awesome. So yeah, we did get that. Like, that's such a good song.
I like that movie. I haven't seen it probably since I was like 10.
Oh.
But, I enjoy it for sure.
Doesn't age well. Let's
I
just,
can
let's
imagine.
just say that. Let's take our third ad break and we're gonna talk about a little Deadpool. So we'll be right back. And we're back. So, Deadpool 3, this happened, I think, on the Friday, just randomly, but Boris Kitt from The Hollywood Reporter reported that Deadpool 3 officially has a director. It is being directed by Sean Levy. A big shout out to Summer Hansey, who loves the Night Museum films, so he did those. He's a producer of Stranger Things. He did Free Guy. He did Adam Project. To me, this is, as the Hulk says in Endgame, this is an absolute win. They also announced that the original writers were coming back. So at one point, there was writers from the Bob Burger shows. They were writing the new movie, and they're out, and the original writers who did 1 and 2 are in. To me, that just makes sense because I loved the first two, so it's like, why not bring them back now? It could have been scheduling issues before. My theory is that Disney probably hooked Ryan Reynolds up with these writers because they're part of Fox. Like, hey, let's see if this works. And Ryan Reynolds was probably like, I don't know if this works. Like, bring me back the other people. That's just me theory crafting. Who knows? But just like, they came back. I really liked the Adam Project this past week on Netflix. It was a fun, like, charming adventure movie, like sci-fi. Really good time with Ryan Reynolds and Mark Ruffalo and Jennifer Gardner. So check that. We didn't do a review or anything, but check out the movie. And then to me, I like that movie. Free Guy, I really, really enjoy. And Free Guy, to me, it's just like, oh, this guy is going to do Deadpool 3. This makes complete sense. So I think this is just like, I'm happy we're getting news because I want more news about Deadpool. Like I said, until it's on set happening, I will not believe it's fully happening because they keep saying, oh, it's a rated R MCU movie with Deadpool. It's like, okay, I hope this is happening. I hope you actually pull the trigger. But what are your thoughts? 'Cause I don't think you've seen Adam Project, but I know you've seen Free Guy. So how are you as far as this guy being the next one up to helm Deadpool with the help of Ryan Reynolds?
Yeah, no, I haven't seen Adam Project yet. It's on my list of things to watch, especially with how positive I've heard from people about it. So that's always good. But yeah, no, Free Guy. I mean, I feel like I was gonna say if you take Ryan Reynolds out of it, it still feels like Deadpool, but also I don't think you could do that movie without Ryan Reynolds because it just feels like a Deadpool spin-off without having a Deadpool. Doesn't even make sense, but I feel like maybe you
It feels like
kind of understand what I'm trying to say.
yeah, it's Deadpool, but it's not Deadpool. Like
Yeah.
that sort of yeah.
So definitely, I'm excited that this is happening. It's a green flag, and I don't really have much to add, just because I don't know too much about this particular director other than what I've seen from him, which has been good. But any news is good news, especially when it comes to Deadpool, and this has been good news, so that's even better. So yeah.
And the other thing is too, like, so he did Free Guy that came out. Obviously, would have been out a few years ago, before, but whatever. It came out last year, and then you have this Netflix movie. It's like stating the obvious, but clearly Ryan Reynolds is happy to be working with this guy. He's doing 3 movies with him in a very short period of time, and I'm pretty sure they've announced that they're going to do a Free Guy too. So I would assume that would be them working on a potential 4th movie. So again, it shows that to me, and Ryan Reynolds has been known before that's what happened. Like Tim Miller directed Deadpool 1, they had some issues. They got a new director. Obviously, it's a little bit different because Disney involved, but Disney, I think, kind of knows that if we want to do Deadpool and be like a success, we do need Ryan Reynolds. And with those first 2 Deadpool movies, Ryan Reynolds was a huge factor in getting those up running. And he was a like Tom Cruise-like producer, where he was very hands-on, picking writers, picking directors, stuff like that. So to me, it's like, well, you have this guy who's working great. And I'm sure the good thing with Free Guy, that was one of those first movies that was like a hit again in the pandemic, right? Where it came out making money. So I think even though that was a Fox movie that Disney acquired, I'm sure they were happy to get that money and go, okay, well, we weren't the brainchild behind this movie. They let them add some stuff like the lightsaber and everything like that eventually, but they weren't like I said, they didn't start the movie up and saw how well it did. Okay, we can trust this guy to maybe make a hit and everything like that. So
Yeah.
I just hope we get and it was a new IP, and it was a new IP. I know people be like, oh well, it's not. There's some stuff in there and start, but it's like at its core to me, it's the new IP playing off of a video game world and stuff like that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Mostly, I know people kind of have throw BF about it not being a new IP, but I think it is. So
yeah. If you have gripes with that, just get over yourself. Come on.
Yeah. go touch some ass,
Go touch some ass. Go
touch
manscape.
some ass. Yeah. That's what you need to do, everybody. Just don't get mad at what you should be doing is not investing energy again online. It should be investing energy in either 1, not being single, or 2, if you are not single, invest energy in that person in a good way. Like
exactly.
Just
or maybe you're just carrying way too much weight down there. Shave it off and you'll be happier.
Yeah, I was talking more emotional baggage, but Kirklin's still talking about your dick.
I'm
so
talking about
that too. So yeah,
Manscaped.
Yeah, Manscaped. Let's talk about our last story of the night. Yeah, let's cure some ass. Let's talk about our last story of the night: the Obi-Wan Kenobi creative overhaul. So this came out earlier this week. I'm gonna let Kirklin go first. I'm gonna set the stage. Where just a few highlights of this article was originally Maul was supposed to be in this. So Deborah Chow, who did some episodes of Mandalorian, she's directing all of Obi-Wan. She, I guess at some point had some creative meeting with Filoni and Favreau. This is a report, so obviously I'm sure there's some true, some not, some a mix of, but it was a report of they felt that the original show was too close to what they thought The Mandalorian was. This citing, there's multiple rumors before this article that it was a kind of Obi-Wan protecting a young Luke storyline. So that's one. Kathleen Kennedy came out and said that they decided to rewrite the script as well because they felt it was too dire and they wanted to be more of a hopeful story. And then the third one, and there's some other facts, but the biggest ones, the third one was that Darth Maul was originally supposed to be in this. They decided to cut him. They replaced him with Vader and the Inquisitors. So I'm not sure which point you want to tackle, if it's an overall thing, but what do you think about some of these? And this has come from Hollywood Reports. This is like big time A-tier scoop or stuff like that. So this is like I said, I'm sure there's some version of that and everything like that. But one of the quotes was that they... I'm trying not to show my hand, but one of the quotes is that they encouraged Chow to go bigger when she was talking about the story with Luke and Obi-Wan. They want her to go bigger. So, what do you take from all this?
Yeah, I feel like I could make an argument for both sides, but my heart is telling me that this is more of a red flag than a green flag. I mean, I already know your feelings just from chats and stuff like that. But I think a lot of things that just in that article that you're listing off there does kind of upset me a little bit, specifically with the mall thing. Duel of Fates, we're getting Anakin or Hayden Christensen back.
It's in the fucking trailer too. The music.
So like part of me is like, that's amazing that we're just getting that back, but also like the content quality I think could be so much higher with the Maul, especially you can just tie into like him as a Padawan, like actually slaying Maul. Like this is just the return of this villain that he thought he killed. Also, we meme about Solo all the time. I haven't watched Rebels or Clone Wars, so me seeing Phantom Menace, that's Maul. Maul gets chopped in half. Next time I see Maul is in Solo, and he just has these metal legs, and then I never see him again. Like I'm never gonna see him again if I don't watch Rebels or anything like that. And like that's just so bizarre to me. So if they actually had him like in this show, that would just make so much more sense than having again. I don't want to judge it too much because I'm gonna have to see how they tackle like the Anakin thing. But I feel like it's so hard to do that cleanly, especially just with how Darth Vader reacts about the idea of what Obi-Wan was in Episode 4 of like just this this not even really a thought, just this thing that he dealt with like a lifetime ago, basically. But then actually, no, however many years ago I saw him on Tatooine or whatever the fuck we are.
Yeah.
So I
fought him twice.
Yeah, like fuck, because it also I feel like it could possibly take away from that big battle that he has with like on the Death Star, right? When he strikes him down, because that's such an important moment because he hasn't faced him since he was on what was it Mustafar when he just completely fucked him up with the high ground.
That's what it's been our entire lives. That's the last time they saw each other from. It's like almost 25, 30 years.
But wait, there's more. If you watch Obi-Wan, they actually, scrap. They just fisticuffed, beat the shit out of each other on wherever the hell they are. I think that has the potential to actually bring down some of those moments in the original trilogy, which is never a good thing in my eyes. So if it has Maul in there, there's no consequence because I know he doesn't make it to the original trilogy. So I'm totally down if he can just. Obi-Wan can slap blades or fisticuffs, whatever the fuck they want to do with Maul, or just having the interaction there. Because then you can just tie in like some Qui-Gon stuff. We mentioned how terrible Qui-Gon was, but I still think there's some really great character moments between him, Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan in that first episode of just like that bond that they had from Master and Apprentice. So that's just out the window because. Obviously, Anakin, I guess he has minor ties to Qui-Gon, but it's not even Anakin at this point. It's Darth Vader, right? And what Darth Vader was right before he became Darth Vader. So that kind of upsets me a bit hearing that news. Also, the fact that they thought it was too dire and was trying to make it a more hopeful story. That is another really disappointing thing because this story should be very dire. Like, when you see Ben Kenobi in Episode 4, he's not like, oh man, I'm so hopeful after my last mission. Like I'm good. Like he's someone that's basically given up. I know he's been looking after Luke, on Tatooine. I don't even know how much he's doing that. He's kind of a wacko, so maybe he was kind of sleeping through that duty here and there. But nonetheless, like he seems like someone that's like Episode 4 was the spark of that New Hope that like ignited this whole rebellion push to
the
like
movie's
really...
called A New Hope.
Yeah. But wait, there's more. There's a New Hope before this. Like, I think, and again, I don't want to be too critical because you got to see it before you judge it and all that jazz. But just from what you're mentioning out of this article, it raises a few flags, honestly, and I think I have to watch my expectations a little bit going in, which.
You shouldn't have to do because you
shouldn't have to.
But...
You shouldn't have to. Like I was gonna mention, like Boba kind of brought me down a bit on Star Wars, but not really. Like I still have the Mando. Like Mando in that season was fucking awesome. So like I'm still really positive on Star Wars in that sense. But and then coming from that show, it's like, oh, this show sucked. Am I gonna be going to Obi-Wan and that sucks? Not really, because I had Ewan and that was awesome, and then the trailer was fucking awesome too. I really loved it, but. And then this article comes out of just some behind the scenes stuff, which definitely is worrisome. And I don't know. I was kind of rambling about those two things. I think you mentioned a third one about them possibly just trying to go bigger. Um,
Oh yeah.
that I feel like that's a Disney thing of like this is a big thing, so it's got to hit big, and
Yeah.
that's again another flag. So that's 3 red flags. Maybe I won't say
You're
they're
up.
huge flags, but they're little flags at least. And
It's something that if the show's disappointing, you're gonna look back on this article and be like, "Fuck."
yeah,
Yeah.
actually,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, so for me, it's like people probably know where I am. I'll start with the easiest one of for me, the disappointment of hearing it was pitched as maybe like a smaller story to made bigger. To me, the two things that are massive red flags are that it has to be about hope. It's like, no, literally episode 4 is called The New Hope. This should be the worst of the times. It's the dark times. This is when Obi-Wan should be at his worst he's ever been. So the fact that it's going to end like hopeful or something like that is like, oh, that's kind of lame. Like I just don't think we need that. And two, this was just a personal preference. Like I said, when we get the show, I'll base it on what it is. I'll give it a chance. But my personal preference was always, like I said, has to be Logan, small, subtle character piece, right? And to me, if it was just because the original pitch was supposed to be like Luke or the Lars get in some trouble with some sort of gang, and Obi-Wan steps in because obviously Luke's there and he doesn't want to get hurt, and it's some sort of like adventure between him, helping Luke out. Now I imagine that's why they were like, oh well, look at our show. We have Mandalorian, and it's the Mandalorian Din Djarin watching after Baby Yoda, and this would be Obi-Wan watching after young Luke. I get it, and Mandalorian, I guess, is like the bread and butter now. I'm just going to be super pissed if Obi-Wan got hurt for just Mandalorian, especially if Mandalorian was fine the way it was after Season 2, I'd understand a bit more. But after what we just got with Boba and how they like butchered the ending of Season 2 for Mando, I'm a little more like, a little more concerned on that point. And I really want that smaller story, but for me, the whole, and this is a huge leap by me, so don't read anything into this, but the whole excuse me, the whole like you should go bigger almost just feels like a nice gaslighting of like, oh no, like yeah that'd be a great story, but like what if you did this, like what if you did Vader, and what if you did the like almost a way like to talk someone out of doing their idea so they don't do something similar to the Mandalorian. This is a leap, no idea, because maybe she heard that, it's like, yeah, fuck yeah, I could do Vader, I'm gonna do that. But for me it's just weird, like yeah, you gotta go bigger, and it's just like you can, but do that with what you're doing with Mandalorian. I don't think every show what we talk about has to be bigger. It's like what we talked about before with the MCU and some of our problem with Eternals. Not everything has to be world ending or this huge thing, right? So if Obi-Wan's big and Mandalorian's big, and so there's just all these things. And with Maul, I do get the point where if you're a diehard fan, you've watched Rebels, you know the end of that story, right? You know Maul and Obi-Wan and the Clone Wars, they don't interact for a long time. Maul goes to Tatooine to kill Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan kills him. That's the end of their story. And everyone's like, I got my ending. You don't have to redo it. Now, here's the same thing, though. People go, oh, well, you could still maybe something between Tatooine and then Obi-Wan and Maul interacting. Well, no, they didn't in the canon. Guess what? That didn't happen? Fucking same thing as Vader and Obi-Wan until a couple weeks from now. They didn't interact at all until Mustafar didn't know Hope at all. So, and to me, the Vader Obi-Wan retconning or adding, that's a much bigger adding than Darth Maul, because
I agree.
sorry, Rebels is great. I like it. But at the same time, there's so many people that haven't seen Rebels, where so many people have seen episode 3 and 4. So the bigger retcon is definitely Vader, in my opinion. So to me, between like, I do, and it's funny, I haven't listened to Star Wars Alliance, so I'm not sure what their takes were about this. But this is like one of the first times me and Katie have actually agreed on something, because we agree on nothing. Like go back to our Star Wars rankings we did for GUA.
She loved Boba, I'm pretty sure.
She likes some things that I definitely did not like, and
okay.
And no, Kate, I love you, I'm happy you're part of the network, but I usually know when you say you don't like a movie, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna like that movie. Or if she says I love that movie, I go, oh, I'm not gonna like this movie. We have such opposing tastes. But one thing she said that I completely agree with, that she says she does not want Star Wars to become Marvel, in the sense of it's just everyone's doing their projects, but then Filoni and Favreau have to come in and be like, oh well, do it like this and do it like this. Like, it works for Marvel. I'm glad we have a system like that, and it kind of started that way, right? And then it went more and more into Feige's direction, but still, it started with him being the spearhead, or one of the spearheads, and now he has most of the power. But if you hear over there, most of the directors like, oh, I have lots of input, I have lots of, and some people can't work in that system, that's fine. But with Star Wars, to me, we talked about this years ago, not everything has to be a connected universe, and I get what they're kind of doing, and I'm not saying that's what Obi-Wan's connected universe, but I don't think everything has to, especially with Star Wars. I don't need the MCU effect of that. If they want to do that in their own little pocket of Mandalorian, great. But honestly, now I have a problem with it after Boba, because to me, Boba really affected that. Like, oh, it is like, oh, it's like MCU style. It's like, yeah, but to me, that actually hurt the Mandalorian show. So if you
Yeah.
guys are gonna do it like this, then I don't want that. And that's the same thing. I don't know, like as of right now, Obi-Wan is so far away from Mandalorian, and not just the show canon wise, but to me also just like reality wise. So like Mandalorian's this thing you guys just created, and Obi-Wan, or sorry, Baby Yoda for their show and for merchandise and to get some for Disney Plus. And out of love, I get that, but it's its own thing. I don't know what the fuck it has to do with Favreau and Filoni coming over to being like, oh yeah, and we're gonna have input on Obi-Wan as well. It's like, this shouldn't have anything to do with what you guys are doing. Now I get it because Filoni's the Star Wars guy, but I don't like everything Filoni does, and that's where I just feel like some of these choices, again, you can't judge it because you can't. People do that all the time too with the Batman Ben Affleck movie, right? You hear all these things, but you couldn't judge it until you see it on screen. Maybe there's some reality where we see this version and we see the other version, went, oh, you know what, this one with Vader was better. But it's not just the story. I'm not pissed because, oh, I want Darth Maul back. It's just there's multiple things about where it's just like, I feel I guess it's good it came out because I'm setting my expectations lower for Obi-Wan, but it feels strange to hear these things about Obi-Wan, and it just feels like, I guess to me, and not what I want, but what is maybe right for the character is kind of the maybe opposite way they're going, and yeah, it's disappointing. I'm really hoping I like this show, but I'm very much disappointing. I'm very much expecting for myself to probably be disappointed, and I think, like I've said before, I don't think I'll be as excited for Star Wars ever again if that happens. I know it sounds hyperbolic, but now we're in this era where, oh, maybe Favreau and Filoni just come and they're like, oh, well, you could do this. And it's like, are they going to do this with every show? Like, do they do this with Acolyte now? Are they going to do this with that Lando show? Like, and to me, I guess it's just different because Feige's definitely has some misses, right? Ralph Boner, stuff like that. People argue the Mandarin, Taskmaster recently. He's not perfect, but to me, he's had a lot more hits than misses. For me, I guess it's just recently they've had like a iffy track record where it's like, oh, if they were knocking home runs, like, oh yeah, I get it. But at the same time, I guess Star Wars probably doesn't really care if people are watching Boba Fett and Mandalorian. They don't care if people think that, oh, you ruined Mando's arc, or oh, you're gonna mess up Obi-Wan's continuity. And at the end of the day, if I get disappointed, like I said before, I'm just gonna take it and be like, well, that's just like a what if story. I'm gonna take my canon and have it in my mind of like, technically, even though I don't like everything he did, the real canon is those first 6 films. You know why? Because that's a George film. Everything else is like, other than stuff he worked on, it's kind of a fan film because it's people that are fans of Star Wars working on it. He didn't have much input on it, but expectations are definitely lowered, and I'm definitely getting worried and concerned about some of the stuff I'm hearing at Lucasfilm now. So,
yeah, I mean, I've been making my own headcanon ever since Legends was retcon, so
yeah, there you go.
There's nothing wrong with that. Honestly, It's all fake.
Exactly. It's not real life. It's
written
for fun.
history or anything like that. Exactly. So make your own.
And I'll make it the fun way.
Out of it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But one last thing I wanted to add on what you said on just like going forward, if is this going to be the thing where they think it's got to be bigger and bigger? Because I really think there's some really great Star Wars stories of just very, very contained. Like it could be in like a cantina, for example. Like you could just have like a movie set in that location, almost like a Bad Times El Royale, or like one of those.
What if Palpatine was there? What if Palpatine was there?
Yeah, like Metachlorians, some back of tanks in there.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're joking about it, but I think it's a major con moving forward with the Disney Star Wars stuff if we can't, like, they just can't do something like that. It's they're gonna be like, oh, it's too small. It's Star Wars.
Yes.
It's got to be so much bigger. I think that's a huge negative.
Then do that in the movies. That's, I mean, what the movies are for.
Yeah,
That's when you go balls to the
100%.
wall. Like, let's do the 200 million huge big budget battle.
Somehow they made another Death Star, and it's even bigger than Star Killer Planet or whatever the fuck it was called. Star Killer Base.
Star Killer Base. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Star Killer universe. It's a whole universe.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Somehow Palpatine's back. He's manning it too.
Somehow he's returned again. Yeah. Fuck. So we'll see. I'm sure Taylor will be all over. He was already like, "Oh, this is great." He's like, "Yeah, go bigger."
This is
It's
a
like, "Oh."
positive, yeah.
Yeah. I was like, "Oh man, I'm happy you like your Star Wars." But Taylor likes any Star Wars. Like I've said before, I've recorded proof of me talking about how Palpatine should come back in Episode 9. He's like, "No, that shouldn't happen. That'd be bad." And then when Palpatine comes back, he's stoked. For years when we talk about Obi-Wan's like, they're gonna bring back Vader. No, they won't bring it. There's no point. I don't need Vader in this show.
He gets back.
He sees one image of Vader that could be from any other movie. Like it's just such a generic poster of Vader. Like, Vader's here. So luckily,
It's playing. Yeah, he comes around.
Yeah. So, but we got Moon Knight coming up. We got Obi-Wan. Lots of good things. Anything else to add on this, Kirklin?
Not at all. That was lots of fun.
Yeah, well, this is a good Salt newscast. Lots of topics, but like I said, we did one a bit later and didn't have an early news one. So next week we should have two. We got the draft, and I think next week is actually the start of Halo. So that's crazy. So yeah,
I was gonna say, I feel like I almost forgot that we had, for the visual watchers, Elizabeth Olsen with us just this whole cast.
Watching over
I
us.
love it. Yeah.
Well,
let's just make this a thing now for
for
our duo cast.
Yeah, exactly. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for tuning in. We hope you had a fun time. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and we promise we'll hear from us next. It'll not be boring.
Peace.